Today's episode is brought to you by Altoids because, let's face it, navigating the dating world isn't easy, but with Altoids, your breath will be stronger than the urge to text.
You up at 1 a.m. More intense than a rose ceremony and more reliable than your bestie's questionable dating tips.
Like, do the simple things. Make sure that you have fresh breath wherever you go, and you got to do it with Altoids. Altoids is your sidekick in dating. Do yourself a favor and make sure that you have fresh breath. There is no bigger turnoff than stale, stinky, rotten breath.
It's also so easy because I feel like with gum, you always either, hey, I've like a wrapper you got to throw away, or you're like the gum gets nasty and you're like, where can I throw this gum away? With an Altoid, it's just so easy to throw in your bag, so easy to just dissolve in your mouth, chew it up, fresh breath immediately.
Altoids is the strong, reliable, and intense boost of freshness that young professionals and single minglers need to be their authentic selves in daily life. When walking into a high-stakes moment, if you have Altoids, your breath is one less thing you have to think about. When it comes to needing confidence and security to show up as your original self, Altoids has you covered.
They're not just mints, they're curiously strong mints.
Find Altoids in the checkout aisles. Grab your 10 today.
You're crazy.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another fantastic episode of the Viall Files Going Deeper edition. I am your host, Nick, joined by the household. We got Scooter, Sweet Boy, Justin, Allie, and Sierra with us today. Yay!
Hey.
We had a fantastic episode lined up for you. We got the one and only Alex Warren in studio today. Very excited for you to hear that conversation with Alex. What a fantastic story that man has. Like, really just man was shot, lived in a car, is making music. It's really interesting.
Super talented.
It's very talented.
He's only 23.
He's only 23.
Yeah.
He's another sweet boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting married.
Getting married. Yeah, he's really accomplished a lot in a little bit of time. But don't want to give too much away, obviously, because there's a whole episode of us getting to know Alex. We are excited for you to get to know him as well. But before we do, we got lots to talk about, as always is the case when it comes to our reality recap episodes. I mean, it's like they're always so long, and yet you'd be surprised. I always feel like we get done talking, and we're always like, "Fuck, man, there's so much we didn't get to talk about." You know, we didn't get to talk about Lala's donor party. What was it called? How'd she call it? What'd she call it?
Sperm
Donor party?
Sperm donor party, where they like basically selected
Her sperm.
Her sperm
Donor.
Yeah, they, on the Valley, they were talking about most embarrassing dates. So much to get into. Poop. They were talking, yeah. Allie's favorite, so we love that. So we're gonna call this our new segment on Going Deeper, our reality roundup.
Love it.
Yeah. So going forward, everything we don't get to talk about on Reality Recap, you'll get a little bit more on our Going Deepers episodes. Or Going Deepers? Going Deeper
Always going deeper.
episodes. So if tell your friends, so you can't listen to Reality Recap without listening to Going Deeper. No.
Now
Sorry.
it's a two-part
That's
episode.
a two-parter. Going forward, it will always be a two-parter.
You're slowly becoming more of a cowboy. So we had the boots, then we had the finger guns, now we have like the Roundup, the lasso.
Did I do that?
No, I did it. But like Roundup, you round them up, right?
I have noticed I've done the guns, which people are telling me I'm channeling Lala.
Yep. Well, I called
It
you
does
out
seem
for that.
natural. I do kind of like...
It's because we were talking about Lala's, what was the word that she was always
Disengage.
saying? Disengage.
But
And then
does Lala not do that?
she does. And then I noticed
someone
that
called me
you
out
kept
for it, but I kind of like it. It's
because you're on that side of the gun.
Yeah. I was like,
Sierra's
you're on the
over here being
receiving
Is
end.
it aggressive? Am I always like...
Sorry, you're just popping off on me.
Pop. Should I not do that?
I like it.
No, you're fine.
Do I have to give... Is it because
You're
of
showing
Lala?
your passion
Yeah.
for what you're talking about.
I don't feel like I've never seen Lala do it, but I started
She only
doing
does
it and I
when she's
kind of like it.
Disengage.
But that I hate. I will never say disengage.
As long as it doesn't accompany the words disengage, I say finger gun all day long.
Motherfucking soft disengage, bitch.
Right.
So
Nailed
don't
it.
do that.
Don't do that. What would be my
Ever again.
what would be my Lala Kent name? Like if I'm Nick from Wisconsin and she's Lauren from Utah.
Nini?
What like
Nick
That's
from
what I said too.
Nini?
Okay, Nini leaks.
Nana.
Nini from
Yeah,
Wisconsin.
that doesn't sound hard. Not that Lala sounds hard, but
Lala sounds hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's
Oh,
the
sorry.
short end
Goes
of
hard?
short end of Nick is Nikki, right? They make it longer.
Lala.
Nikki V.
Nikki V.
From the streets.
Nikki
Is that
V.
Nick's new nickname?
That's
Nikki
Nick's-
V.
Nikki
I've been
V from
Nikki
the
V to
streets.
friend. That has been a nickname, Nikki V.
Nikki V.
Nikki V.
Viall.
Much cooler than the Nikki V show, Viall Files.
I think I'm gonna stick with Nini.
I like
Nini.
Nini.
I like
Going
it.
forward. All right.
Nicknames.
Giving
Nicknames are
housewives.
fun.
All right. I'll forever be Nini.
I do, but I don't.
What
Wait,
is
what's
it?
your nickname?
Apparently, Scheana.
Oh, right. Mm.
From whom?
You.
From you.
Oh, yeah, that's just a Freudian slip. Yeah,
don't have a
I can't
nickname.
help that you
A
remind me
Freudian
of
slip that
Scheana.
happened like 3 times.
Nick was
in a
offended
row.
for you.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm creating storylines. Okay?
I forgot
All
about
day.
that until now, Scheana. So, have you
Shit.
ever had a nickname though?
Cece, but that's
Oh.
Cece's cute.
Yeah.
She's great.
yeah. My first name's Sierra. My middle name's Simone, spelled with a C. So it's pretty
so
built
you
in.
are
Yeah.
Did you know that Natalie and I will have the same initials?
Oh, how easy
Wow.
for monogramming.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that for you.
Can we ask? Like,
NJV.
oh, well, there you go. Answer my question.
There you go.
And Jay, what's your middle name?
Joseph.
Joseph. Joseph.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
I didn't know that.
so I can get
No,
like
no.
NJV tattooed to my body, and it'll be like, is it for my wife or is it for me? You know,
Right.
kind of like how Scheana has pictures of herself all over the house.
Self
I
love.
just got just self love.
Self-love that counts for 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're here for it.
that's true.
So-
That's true.
Do people share the initials with their sperm donors?
What do you
Excuse
mean?
me.
What?
I was just trying to transition.
Well,
You guys
that
are
was rough.
obsessed with the transition. You could
just
just
thought
be
it was
like, you
fun.
know what we should talk about now?
You know what we should talk about now is embarrassing first date. What is it?
Oh.
Know what we should talk about now? The most embarrassing thing you've ever done on a date. So in the Valley, they had girls' night and they were playing Truth or Dare. And I thought this was a really fun conversation. And I think we should play it here.
Okay.
So what
Okay.
was the most embarrassing
Oh,
thing
I have a good one.
you've ever done on a date?
Well, then you start.
Anyone can start.
I can start. Note to anybody that's going on a first date: don't get vegetarian sushi. The reason I say that is because they take out the fish, but they fill it with more vegetables, aka it's harder to even eat.
That
I,
makes
ch-
sense,
I
yeah.
choked on vegetarian sushi on a first date. Literally, like almost needed the Heimlich remover. The whole time I was like,
Maneuver.
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 Remover.
and removed. I
Did you say
needed it removed.
maneuver?
I said remover.
Maneuver.
He said remover.
I needed it
Remover.
removed. I
It
needed
is
it removed.
maneuver.
And for 5 minutes, he was looking at me, and I was like, like I couldn't even talk. I was like, it's like,
For 5 minutes, he just sat there and waited for you
dang
to
near.
die.
It felt like 5 minutes. I thought I was dying, and then I just gave up. I didn't eat the rest of the plate. I was like, I can't eat this.
That's not that embarrassing.
It was some.
I think I've said this before, but why is it that like choking and falling are embarrassing?
It's either embarrassing or like the funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
I feel like it
guess
depends,
depends
if you
how
laugh.
you react,
Yeah.
right?
If you get
Yeah.
hurt, it's
Yeah.
not so
Yeah.
funny. But like when people like fall and start laughing, I love it. I love it.
For me, the sushi was embarrassing because he was vegan or vegetarian and I wasn't. So I was trying to be cool. I was like, no, I can eat like you do.
Oh, you ordered for him.
Yeah. And then I almost died. So
Hmm.
lesson learned not to do that.
Did you make a sexual joke?
Probably. I couldn't even talk. So I was choking.
Sorry, I'm used to eating meat, you know?
Yeah, not sushi.
So I choke a lot. This is
Sorry.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Well,
could have done that. That's not that embarrassing, though.
yeah.
I'm like trying to think. I was like embarrassing moments. I was like, not really. I haven't gotten a lot of dates though. Like first dates,
It
not.
doesn't need to be a first date.
I mean, like there was one time when I tried to get out of a bad date, and he clearly knew. Like we went out to eat, and then we went back to his house, and we were like smoking, and we got in this hammock, and there's just this moment of clarity that was like, I no longer want to be here anymore. And so I did the whole like fake a phone call and being like, oh, my apartment's flooding, I have to leave. And he's like, is that really what you're gonna do right now? And it was
You
like
got
what
called out for
Oh,
faking
yeah.
the phone.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's
It's 'cause you were too
that's
obvious,
embarrassing.
yeah.
That's embarrassing. Yeah.
Because I've been there too, but I just opted out for the I'm gonna go.
Oh,
What did
no.
you do? Did you like dig your hole deeper?
Of
or
course,
were you-
I committed to the bit. I was like, no, seriously, like I have to leave right now. And he was just like, oh, no, okay, that's cool. That's cool. We didn't talk or like there wasn't a follow-up date or anything, but I was
Yeah.
happy about that. So,
Respect him for calling you out, though.
Kind of bold.
you know,
That
That
is bold.
listen.
But you
they-
said your house was flooding.
I said like my apartment was flooding or something. I'm like, who knows? Maybe I said like my friend needed my help. Whatever it was,
It's like,
it was like,
what?
I need to leave right now.
What was so bad about it that you had to leave?
You know, like I don't know, like when dates are kind of neutral to begin with, and then like as you start like unpacking the layers, like maybe the date should have ended at dinner, but instead he lived around the corner, wanted to smoke. So it was like, okay, we can like hang out. And like as he was talking, as the vibes were like, it was setting in very much like we're not compatible.
Oh, did he pick the place and it was around the corner?
And it was around the corner. So it was also like, thank you.
How old were you?
Up like 21.
Was it a college town?
No, it was Los Angeles.
No excuse.
Larchmont Village, to be exact. I'm sorry if you listen to this podcast. It wasn't you, it was me.
Nick, did you think of one?
I have to operate under the BN rule.
What's that?
I'm just like, what, did someone fart during sex? Like what?
Before Natalie.
Oh.
Which is, I've been instructed that doesn't exist.
Oh, she's invoked her, your Fifth Amendment?
Is there a funny date story of Natalie?
She won't murder you for telling us.
Because I know that you don't bring your phone out on dates sometimes.
Yeah, and you played hard to get in the beginning. So I'm like, I feel like there had to have been...
Embarrassing?
Did you try? I feel like she calls you out a lot too. So I'm like, did you try a move that like she was like, what is that?
I know one time before Natalie and I were official. This is when we rendezvoused like either in LA or New York, and this one time she was supposed to come to LA, and then GMA like called me up. They reached out to my people, and it was Valentine's Day coming up, and so they wanted to do like some sort of bit with me in Valentine's Day, and I gave relationship advice, and as the former bachelor and blah blah blah. So like I did like it was like win a date with me kind of thing on GMA, and like it's GMA, so like yeah, fuck it, I'll come over and be on the show, whatever. And so Natalie was supposed to come out that weekend, so I reached out to GMA, and this is again like we're not boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm like, so I have well, this was kind of embarrassing. I was very cagey about like the relationship, but I was like, I had bought Natalie's plane ticket out to LA, and I was like, well, and I really wanted to see Natalie, and I didn't want to cancel on Natalie's. So I was like, well, I have a friend that's supposed to come out. Like, can you fly them to New York? And they're like, sure, no problem. So then I had to give them Natalie's information, which I was a little like reluctant to do. But I was like, my friend's coming. And I was very like selling it as a friend. So they like booked like a room with 2 double beds.
Oh my God.
Wait, for both of you guys?
For both of us.
Okay.
And it was because of me, because I was like, yeah, my friend's coming and yada, yada, yada. And they didn't want to presume. And then like Natalie came with me to GMA, and she's sitting in the green room, and I just felt like really kind of embarrassed and awkward because like this is your friend. And then we had to like get a different hotel room with one bed. So that was all kind of weird. And then Natalie had to sit and wait while I like the winner of the show like literally won a date. And it was just like out for breakfast with the producers and me. And it was like a friendly like fan conversation. And it wasn't really a date. If Natalie was here and told this story, you would hear a much more colorful.
She was
annoyed.
I'm sure she'd be like, I walk into the room and there are 2 beds.
Yeah. And Nick brought me on a fucking date with someone else, like, yeah, for Valentine's Day. And she's like, you know how my first Valentine's Day was fucking Nick? I was watching him go on another fucking date on GMA.
Well, you guys did something else for Valentine's Day, right? Like you, Natalie?
That day?
Yeah.
Well,
no.
keep in mind, this is early in the relationship, and I'm just like not sure if I want to like, I don't know if I can date, and I'm very
flew her out to New York, but like can't do a Valentine's Day 'cause she might get the wrong idea.
I don't want to like give her the wrong impression, like I didn't want to lead her on. I didn't want to lead her on.
2 double beds, one for me and Nick, and one for this woman that wins.
I'm just saying, when you're in that situation, and I understand, I have reasons to criticize me and yada yada. It's been well documented. Mine and Natalie's first 10 months of our relationship, and I'm dumb and stupid, and she's the best, and I'm the worst. I get it. However, like, yeah, you have to choose between like, it was Valentine's Day. We weren't in a relationship. I wasn't trying to give her false expectations. And yes, it's easy to make fun of me now because we're together and we have a kid and we're getting married. But at the time, no, I didn't want to like do the thing like what sets up like someone like Joe, when you're a Tom Schwartz and he's just like, I love you, man. Like I wasn't saying I love you, in a way that could be misinterpreted, it's like that middle ground that we say because we don't want him giving a shit. We don't want to put in that awkward situation, So yeah, I'm the asshole. But like on Valentine, we were hanging out that weekend. I didn't even want to, I wanted to see her.
Did
but
you throw in an occasional bro just to
no,
keep it?
Probably.
Fist bump.
Probably. I've definitely
Love you, man.
Yeah, I probably patted her on the head and called her buddy, for sure. But what are you gonna do? Because when you're in those kind of like hookup situations where it's unclear and feelings are involved and it's a little cloudy, like sometimes you gotta, be the bad guy. Otherwise, you get swarthed. I'm just saying. Otherwise, you get called out for leading them on and, yada, yada. No, Natalie can never accuse me of leading her on in those 9 or 10 months. She can't. Yeah. She is able to say a lot of other things, and she does, especially now that we're together and getting married. But,
You gave her a storyline. It's cute.
Yeah.
A Valentine storyline.
Yeah. That was our first Valentine's Day, watching me go on a date with someone else. So
that was a good one.
For me.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Do you want to share one, Leia?
I have a few because I do things stupid all the time. I'd say the first time Danny and I like hung out, we were teenagers, obviously, so I was like not allowed to drive him yet, and so I broke the rules and drove him anyway. And then we were like making out in the car, and then I left the headlights on and the car off, so my car died.
Rookie mistake.
And then I had to call my parents, and he had to call his, and that's when everyone met each other for the first time.
Wait, where were you?
On the side of a road somewhere.
And your parents were like, "What were you doing?" You're like,
They
"I was
were like-
giving him head."
They were like,
the
they were
headlights
not
on.
happy. That's the first and only time I ever got grounded.
Leia, you rule
That's the
breaker.
only time you've ever got
Yeah.
grounded. What was your
I was a
parents'
good
form
kid.
of punishment?
I really didn't get into trouble that much, but I would say like just don't do it again. That was my
Don't do it
punishment.
again.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
Look at you.
Wow. I mean, you
Yeah.
turned out, so you must
turned
have
out.
well
Yeah,
behaved.
but that's the one time I got grounded. And me being grounded was they took my phone away for like 10 minutes and then they like would give it back to me every time I left the house.
How old
like-
were you when you got a phone, like a smartphone?
When I got a smartphone, is a BlackBerry a smartphone? No, right?
Yes. Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Yes.
You very much
That
typed on that.
Would be the first type of smartphone.
Yeah.
But it didn't have internet, did it?
It sure
I
did.
think it did.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a BlackBerry when I was in 16 or 17.
Yeah, it had limited apps, but not apps like you do now. But that was a smartphone for sure. You could
Yeah.
definitely.
I think I got an iPhone when I was 18.
That was your first phone?
No, that
Oh,
was
okay.
like my
The
first
iPhone. Got you.
Yeah.
What about you?
I got my first phone in junior high. I was in 6th grade.
Oh.
But it just had like numbers on it, no texting.
I got the Nokia brick.
The Nokia
freshman
brick.
year of college, and I was the first of my friends. $25 a month, 100 minutes a month, unlimited nights and weekends.
Was it a flip phone?
No, it was the
With
Nokia
an
with
antenna?
Snake. Yeah, with the
Yeah, the
little.
little
You could have
brick.
and you could have the mix, the different covers you could put on. You know.
Wait, hold your hand up as if you're answering a phone call. What?
Oh, he's a
He's
Gen
an
Z.
iPad kid.
He's Gen Z.
What's this?
'Cause
Gen Z
there's-
does that because they don't do this. They go like this.
Yeah, there's like a trend where they ask people in
And I'm
different
Gen Z-
generations, like, how do you answer a
Yeah.
phone? And people who are like millennials and up would go like this.
Which I do as a Gen Z.
I
Well,
do.
yeah, but I took that literally. I thought about holding a phone.
You thought too much?
You're correct. The answer is correct.
But if you were like, how do you make what's the international like hand signal for like being on the phone? I would definitely do this.
Okay.
You know, when you're like have the earbuds on and people are like think you're talking, you're like,
Yeah.
there's a nobody and they're like trying to talk to you and you go, I would do this.
Okay.
I wouldn't go like this.
Yeah.
Does Gen Z do that?
Yeah.
Gen Z
I
goes
don't
like
know.
this. I'm on
My
the
little
phone.
my little sister does that.
She'll go
so-
like, I'm on phone.
Mhm.
And she's like holding a ball.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Why? Why does Gen Z do
Because
that?
they grew up with like a phone.
an iPad.
Like
or
an
an iPhone.
Wait, when
iPad.
you say you're
Yeah,
on
but
the
like
phone,
when people
aren't
go
you
like this,
holding a
it's
phone?
there
This
was
is-
never a phone.
But this is a landline, right? So that's why it's like you pick it up and hold it versus now it's just the phone.
People never picked it up. Like,
When are you
Well,
ever
it's-
motioning to someone that you're on the phone if you're not actually on the phone?
what do you mean? No, you are on the phone.
So then wouldn't you be holding a phone?
No, but you might have earbuds on.
Oh, I see
Yeah.
what you're saying. I would just point to the
I was gonna say, I just
AirPods. I would just
point.
be like,
Get out.
Okay.
You know what this is giving? Like, where's the check? Can I get the check?
I do that.
Do you do that?
Yeah.
You say you just go like this.
If I can get
Do you
the
lip it?
from yeah. Now I'm like thinking too much
Do you
about it. But
whisper
yeah.
too?
oh, you do the writing?
Yeah. Wait.
I was like, check.
this
Can we get
wrong?
the check? I just say it.
You just yell it?
whisper
You just yell out in the middle of a
yell it.
restaurant.
I'm not like, can we get the fucking check? But
Garçon.
if I grab their eye attention, I don't whisper it. It's not like a puzzle at this point. If I am like, hey, can we get the check? It's like I just speak like a normal person.
I speak shorthand. I go, can we get the
Like, why?
I don't want to out them. I'm like,
are you like, is it because they're not doing their job?
I don't want to pressure them. I'm like, whenever you're ready, I'm like, can we just?
Yeah, I mean, I will say, hey, no rush. Whenever you're ready, can we get the check?
Yeah.
If they come to your table, let's say they bring you a refill, do you shorthand that? Can we get that? Like it's a guessing game?
To be fair, I drink water, so every time it's low, they just fill it up too much. So I never have to ask for that one. But
although I feel like it's like easier to ask for the check and then like have them walk away. And then the worst is when you're like, can we get the check? And then they just whip out one of those like toast things. I'm like, fuck,
love those.
You're already ready with
someone did that to me the other day, and the cheapest like option for tip was 20%. I believe in tips, but I was like, it's a setup.
Do you ever tip below 20%?
Well, I feel like the gauge is 18 or more, right? But this person talked to us like once the whole time.
Well, I mean, there's a tipping epidemic in this country.
That's
for
true.
Sure.
That is very much true.
Sure.
Now you have to like, especially order anything, coffee.
Stand in line to order.
Yeah.
Do you want to tip 25%?
Home Depot. It's like,
Yeah,
do
they
you want a
literally-
tip? It's like, what the fuck?
They literally flip it around. And
But
they're
we should tip at our own like discretion though. But I feel like he was like Loki looking at it as he was like, "What are you gonna put in?" And I was like, "Well,
serving table for servers, I'm a minimal 20%.
I do too
Okay,
because
which
I've
makes
worked at a
sense.
restaurant. But like when I go to when I'm just picking up food, like if it's a pickup order and there's like tip option, I'm just like, but I'm like when we do that at Mendo.
Oh, I'm a no tip.
oh, I got
Yeah,
no,
just
yeah."
like-
I
I'm
got
sorry,
grilled. I got
like,
grilled
yeah.
for tipping a takeout once, and I was like, "Oh,
I'm a
guess we don't do that.
sucker. I'm always like, $3.
round it up."
Every once in a while,
It-
I'm feeling generous.
It just depends. I'm like, because I never have cash on me either. So it's like any like Starbucks, all that stuff when you put your card in. I'm like, if I had the option and had a couple dollars, I'd put it in the jar. So might as well just be like $2, $3.
Yeah, I mean, was that just because the world got more automated and they were able to like ask for tips that they just started doing it?
Yeah.
So it just automatically has a tip option.
Nick, I should give you a thing every time you leave the studio, just like tip.
Tip us.
Tip. We should leave a little tip jar in the
That's
front of the
honestly what the
studio.
world's coming to. Where all of a sudden, like employees are at a corporate office, they're gonna have like,
A tip
it's
jar
like, can
at
I
the
get the TPS report? They're like, yeah, sure, and I'm gonna get a
tip
tip
option on it.
request when it's done. It's like, how's that new sizzle coming? And so like, well, where's that fucking 20%? You know?
You want an answer? Pay for it.
I will say
Oh, Allie,
waiters.
you'll be rich.
Waiters need more tips. Like tips are kind of necessary in like the way that they're paid. I think.
But the
For
problem
waiters,
is because they're
yeah.
not paid enough.
Exactly.
That's the
So then we
problem.
compensate for it. Yeah.
Yeah, where the company like a Starbucks or like a Mendocino Farms, like it's not our fault that they're not paying their people enough.
Yeah, they
I
should
think
pay more.
if we want to tip because their service is so extraordinary, and that coffee is so piping hot and made with love, and I want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Here's 20%. I'm all for tipping. But the guilt trip, this is how we make our money, you know. Oh, the real scam, and this is like an LA scam. I think you've seen it in New York. It's some of my favorite restaurants have this. It's the
For real.
it's what is it? They call
Oh.
it the service.
yeah,
They're
oh,
like,
yeah,
this is
healthcare.
this is the service fee. We all share it, and I'm like, so it's a tip. Well, no, this is not a tip. They call it a service fee.
Service fee.
It's a service fee.
Wait, I saw this for the first time.
It's
on
18% across the
Yeah.
board,
Mhm.
and they're like, we share it for the staff, and like before, they would just like not tell you about it
Mhm.
and hope that you would double tip, which I did forever. And then finally, I was like, wait, no, I've been tipping 40%, and then I stopped doing it, and I would just be like, circle the service fee. And now when you go there, now they're like, no, on the receipt, they'll tell you this is not a tip. This is for X, Y, and Z, and this is for this, and this is for that. Maybe it's benefits, whatever. And all I read is like, my employer doesn't want to pay us,
Yeah.
so we've decided to do this. But so you're asking for 2 tips. Like it is I don't care that you don't call it a tip. It's literally a tip,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's like they're expecting you 40% on top of your meal. They're expecting you to pay 40% surcharge.
They need to raise minimum wage.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I think it's the minimum wage needs to be higher. Restaurants need to pay more. It's because I'm gonna keep tipping until that happens, but it's like it should be on the restaurant.
Biggest.
But I really hate it when they tell me it's not a tip.
Oh, the service fee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's giving a little scammy, but
No, it's giving total scammy.
Well, that
Yeah.
it's not going to the server; it's going to the restaurant.
Well, I don't know. It's not my problem.
How do you feel about Sugarfish when they do the like tip already? So by the time you give
Love.
them the card, so you don't care.
Well, they do 18%. It's automatic,
And
and
it's
I'm
a
always like, can I add a tip? Because sometimes, again, if you don't ask, then I want to be generous. Like it's like, here's an extra $10 or whatever. You know, you were great. Yeah, they don't even give you the option. They're just like, you're done.
There's a get
Get
out.
the fuck out.
You're done. We charged you. Get out.
No, literally, which I kind of appreciate. I appreciate efficiency.
Same.
Yeah.
Should Lala have to tip her sperm donor?
Nice segue.
Hey. That's a
We
good
are
one.
obsessed with the segue.
That's a good one.
Wow, that was great. I was a little. I found that scene fascinating with Lala's like donor party.
Mhm.
It seemed like, quite honestly, it seemed like she had her donor picked out, and then did the whole like paddle thing and made it seem like she was getting input. And then it's like, oh, so we're really going with one? Great. I felt like she had, and rightfully so. I mean, of course, she would, not
Wanna pick
actually,
it
let
herself,
Lisa
yeah.
Vanderpump in a paddle pick the father of her next
I
child.
was like,
Yeah.
well, Lisa Vanderpump was like, he loves dogs, so
Yeah.
donor number 3. And it's
Yeah.
like, no,
Like,
honey, that
what?
can't be
That
enough.
is your
Yeah, it's like,
advice, Lisa?
he's a murderer. He hates children, but he loves dogs. Yes, him.
He is riddled with like diseases, and I don't like hereditary, family history of cancer and heart disease. I am fascinated for the people who, like Lala, who, do get a donor, and that's
Mhm.
what a great way, to have a family. For there's a lot of reasons why people can't conceive on their own. So if love that Lala brought awareness to this and showed
Absolutely.
like that it can be a really beautiful and heartwarming process. But I am fascinated by like what information do you get, like what you're dealing with, like HIPAA laws and things like that. Funny story. Couple years back, I don't even think I was the Bachelor yet. I had been on the Bachelorette, and I don't even know how I found out about this. But I was sent a bit of information. It was from some sort of donor place,
Mhm.
and they had celebrity lookalikes, and I was a celebrity lookalike for one of their sperms.
You were the celebrity lookalike.
Yeah, it
for
was like if you
Wait.
pick this kid, it could look like Nick Viall from the Bachelorette.
So they would publicize the
Interesting.
sperm with a picture of you.
Yeah, it was like if you want your kid to look like this
What?
guy.
Did you get a
Which-
percentage of that?
Yeah. Did
No,
you,
well, I
did
don't-
you get anything from this?
No. Well, I mean, it's a celebrity lookalike. I wasn't as well represented then as I am now. I didn't have the arsenal of the team that I have now. So maybe I don't know. Maybe there was some tomfoolery going on, but I did nothing with that information. Also, I feel like the internet thought I was like short and a little like
Give me an adjective.
Short,
A synonym.
egotistical,
dweeby.
Dweeby.
Dweeby? Scrawny?
Dweeby.
Quirky.
Okay. I
Really
like
small?
dweeby.
Dweeby. Yeah.
Dweeby. Okay. They thought you were a dweeb.
Well, I just like I
Forgot about that
know,
one.
but the internet has a lot of different opinions of me. So whoever was doing that particular celebrity lookalike, was that like a good thing or a bad? It's a kind of a weird, it's kind of a dangerous territory to have like a celebrity lookalike you've never met in person.
Well, it's also not
Like a
their
photo.
sperm. So I'm
But-
like, for
but
me,
what-
that's weird.
It's not your sperm.
But
That's
what
like
information-
straight up not
It's like
going
false
to be Nick
advertising.
Viall's kid.
Yeah, it's like it's not even me. It's just like what? I think it's because obviously I'm guessing you don't get to see these people's photos, right?
I feel like
I
I've
don't
heard
know.
I've from someone in the past that I talked about it with. I don't know like too in deep what it is, but they were able to see the photos of the person.
Maybe it's like a checkbox option. Do you want to show your photo or do you want to remain anonymous? I imagine most of the donors want to be anonymous.
Yeah, they definitely
would
put
assume.
descriptions though. Like, because my friend used a donor and they were able to see the hair color, eye color, like the descriptors were there. I
But
don't know
like
if they were able
height?
to see a
What about
photo.
like family
Height's
health
there.
history?
So as long
I
as
mean, I think those are all really important things.
for pictures, I'm looking at it and it depends on the different process or like source of the sperm like the sperm, but like some places allow you to see the photos of the people.
Yeah,
Interesting.
It depends on it's like some have extended profiles that even have pictures of the donors as adults.
Yeah.
But a lot of people want to know hair color, eye color, height, weight, and race.
Yep.
What about like father's hairline?
It says personal and family medical history.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think baldness counts as medical history though.
Why not?
Hairline,
Uh,
hairline.
Why not?
Demographic and education information.
Okay. Like athletic background.
Mhm.
How high can they jump? How many?
But do you think it would matter? Like, oh, this guy only finished college or this guy only finished high school and this one has a master's.
I
Let's
care
go with
less
the guy
about
with the
education
master's.
and more
True.
about IQ. Yeah. Like,
Mm.
what about? I'd want to know like IQ, intelligence. I'd want to know like athletic background. I'd want to know like hobbies and interests. I'd want to know introvert, extrovert, personality test, like an enneagram test or some kind of personality test. What's the what are some of the personality tests? There's the
Myers-Briggs.
Myers-Briggs, like something about like what's their, because we inherit our personalities so much. Like as we get older, it's like, oh, fuck, I am my fucking dad. You know, like those commercials, like you're growing up to be your parents. Like as I get older, like I'm sitting there watching TV, or I'll do some sort of like body, I don't know. I'll do something and I'll like feel like I'm channeling my parents and
I just did that.
Yeah. You're like, holy shit, I'm my mom, I'm my dad, oh my God.
I sat on the ground to eat my dinner, like at the coffee table. My grandma does this all the fucking time. And it bugs me so much because we have a dining table. We have like a couch, and she always sits on the ground. And then the other day I was sitting and eating dinner with Connor, and I just sat on the ground, and I was just like, what is happening? Like the one thing I would criticize her for is like the thing that I'm all of a sudden like doing and I'm comfortable doing it.
Yeah. How much of that do you think is learned? Like you watch the way that your parents do things, and then you learn those actions, as opposed to like if my dad had passed away way earlier in my childhood, would I have picked up on a lot of the things that he used to do? I don't know.
I think it's a mix. I think it's definitely a mix. I think we obviously have learned behaviors, and we learn from our parents and our surroundings and our communities and the thing we watch and the things we watch for sure. But I think there is, your dad passed away. I got to imagine there are moments that you do or say something that your mom like says or, acknowledges, like it's reminding you of your dad. No, never.
No, 100%. But he passed away when I was 19. So there were a lot of years that I learned behaviors. Sure. No, but I do think that there are definitely like inherent things that like
there are definitely things we
inherit. Do that I inherit.
Yeah. And it might not be like tics or behaviors or habits or things like that, but our personalities, like whether we are more introverted or extroverted, like, you can have two extroverted parents and have an introverted child, but somewhere along the line, like there's personality traits I know I have from my parents, there are personality traits all my siblings have, in so many ways, all 11 of us, we couldn't be more different in so many ways, but at the same time, you can all also tell that we're siblings in a lot of other ways. Right. Yeah. And so, those are the things I want. I don't really care if they liked dogs or not. That's to me a product of your upbringing.
Yeah, 100%.
Favorite animal was a weird question.
Yeah.
For Lala.
I think too, like for me, I would want to know like hobbies, like talents,
special skills.
Can you sing? Can you like? Yeah. Can you play sports? Like
is there a music background? Yeah. You couldn't if they were a comedian. See, that's more learned, and also that's usually a sign of like childhood trauma. You always hear that, right?
Yep.
But yeah, I feel like they could, there's so much more information you would want. If you could know one information from your donor, what would it be?
For me, just because of my trauma with health issues, I would say health, like healthy background.
I don't know. I was thinking like occupation, but not in the sense of like I want a high occupation, but more of like a who are they? Like what do they...
All right, I got. Okay, your health, because I know you're going to say health, but the question is health or talent. You get to know one of the two.
Talent.
Health. But if I was going to answer that individually, then I would say, I would want to know what they look like.
Let's assume.
Right.
Because I want to know what my kid's going to look like.
Let's assume.
Eye color.
Let's assume like they do like a baseline health test. Like, what would that tell you? Like, no, I don't know. What, like, sometimes like, you can pass like
physical.
But
certain
diseases.
Mm-hmm.
What's the
hereditary
lung disease that's very
cystic fibrosis?
Cystic fibrosis. Thank you.
Yes. That's a really bad one.
Yeah, and I think it's very genetic, is my understanding. But like, so something like that, where, and I'm not talking about like my dad died of a heart attack, because that is, that obviously can be hereditary. There's hereditary elements, but a lot of that is diet and lifestyle and things like that. Cancer, like not to downplay cancer, but like cancer is very prevalent. Everyone
there are some that are genetic though, but yeah.
Yes.
That could predispose you.
Yes. But then there are some other more serious ones where it runs in your family, and immediately there's like tests being like you have to deal with. So let's assume they do that baseline where you don't know about cancer per se, you don't know about heart, but like some of the more severe ones, I guess when you say health, you can go pretty granular, right? Like my grandfather died with cancer. Right. So like if I were a donor, like all of a sudden it's like, this donor's grandfather had cancer, and this donor's like, sure, of course. But you know what I'm saying?
That's like the one, but there could be.
So let's say that you couldn't get really granular with health, but you got the baseline this donor doesn't have any like genetic, we're going to have to worry about
genetic markers
for any severe that your child might have, could be born with, and you're in the clear there. But let's say there was the option to get more granular with height, weight, like health, or I don't know, hairlines and things like that.
Because those are more physical.
It's part of health.
Yeah.
Okay. I stand by talent.
So you're saying looks or talent?
Yeah.
Well, I'm part of the saying because I want to say talent too, but it's not to say that like I'm taking the risk that they're going to be generally healthy. It's like no different than like I didn't, Natalie's dad, he's got health problems, right? Natalie's grandma just passed away, but she was 90. I didn't like neither Natalie and I like made the other person go to the doctor and get like some sort of like health history before we conceived River.
Yeah, well, that's why you take vows for better or for worse, because you didn't ask.
Danny and I did genetic testing before.
You did?
Yeah, before we got married.
Oh.
Just because we're both Jewish, there are a lot of things that, that we didn't have anything that was the same, thankfully, but like we definitely did because we were,
what would you have done with that information
probably like IVF or something. Yeah.
Because your bloodlines are closer together?
Yeah, but I mean, we happen to be from like different sides of the world, but like, it happens.
It happens.
Yeah. Should we talk about Rachel Leviss and her claims that Tom Sandoval told her it was a bad idea to stay in trauma therapy despite her really dark thoughts?
I hate saying, I think Tom has just become a convenient punching bag, an excuse for everything now, and Tom has done himself no favors in terms of gaining any credibility. And it's not to say he's done a lot of things wrong, but I just think the devil's in the details and in terms of wording. And again, I was around Tom during this time where he very much was wanting to be in a relationship with Rachel, and she was in this mental health facility. And the Tom I talked to when he was talking about Rachel was said nothing but wonderful things about this girl and wanted to be with her and was super supportive. Now, was he supportive in the way that she wanted or needed to be supported? I don't know. I mean, there's a world where Tom could have not thought that was the best situation for her, and it's not the same as him, the way she's selling it.
I don't know. Tom kind of doubled down last episode, but saying that like she was selfish, whatever, when the podcast came out. And I will say that I think Rachel's take or whatever was that while she was going into that, she didn't go into the institution when she wanted to originally because Tom told her, like, talked her out of it. So that's why she ended up doing the reunion. And then she disappeared and went into the Meadows. But what she is saying is that he was continuously trying to say that these people are going to brainwash her, that she like is being selfish for staying in there, even though she said she felt that she needed to. I mean, obviously we don't know. It's speculation at this point from like her point of view, I guess. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I think Tom looks out for himself. So at the same time, I'm not shocked by the idea that maybe he's not giving the best advice because at the end of the day, they're about to walk into a season and he's about to step on every landmine possible.
Yeah,
alone.
It's not that I'm doubting he said that. I'm just questioning her version of his intent.
Right.
I know Tom can say a lot of dumb things.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think it's all malicious and manipulative. You know what I'm saying? And I think now she's very much having this revisionist history of this story. Again, I wasn't really friends with Ariana. It's like, okay, that's definitely subjective now. And it's just like, I don't know, like, people love to throw out the word best friend all the time. How many best friends do you have? It's always so subjective. And like very much Rachel is giving revisionist history. I mean, what did she say about I know she responded to Scheana talking about the living situation and her only paying a certain amount of rent. What did she even say about that?
She was legitimizing it by saying it was an equal trade and that she stayed at the house in LA while Scheana and Brock were out in San Diego, and that she was watching Sheena's cat that was pumped with mercury for 3 weeks while Scheana was breastfeeding, so she couldn't be around the cat, and somehow that equivalates to staying with them for multiple months for only $1,000 a month. And Sheena's made it very clear that she was doing it as a favor, but then they got to a point in June where she was like, you got to figure something else out.
Well, again, that doesn't even really make sense of Rachel because on the episode, Scheana was literally just pointing out, as she said, she was doing a kindness to Rachel. And the reason, defending Scheana here, by the way, Scheana, if you're listening, is that she was pointing out, hey, I did this kindness for this friend who ended up kind of stabbing me in the back and not being a friend to me. And that's frustrating because I, tried to be a friend to this person. Here's an example of me trying to be a friend. I let them live here for a much reduced rent. Why does Rachel need to respond to that? Well, Rachel doesn't need to go like, well, it wasn't a favor. Like, it's the same bullshit about, I wasn't friends with Ariana. Yep. It's like, it's a semantics argument. Be like, well, actually, no, it was a deal. It was a fair market value deal. It's just like, I only paid this, but I did this. And it's like, no, but you stayed here for $1,000 by yourself in a $4,000 apartment because you watched a cat.
Yeah, I think if Rachel's going to nitpick every detail of the show, like, she should have just gone on the show. Like,
at this
point, if
point,
you want to move on as badly as you say that you do, then do it. Like,
she doesn't want to
why
move on.
are you still talking about it on every episode? It's like, oh, this episode is about Vanderpump. It's like, no, every episode that you put out is about Vanderpump. Like,
no, this season is about Sandoval and the fallout of Sandoval, of which she was clearly a part of. She started it, and so yes.
What did you think was going to happen?
That's why she is always talked about every episode, and
Wait, she did say because Tom, this episode, was saying that he was used by Rachel, and like direct quote, she said, it's not what would I be using him for? It's not like I need him to be more famous. If that were the case, I would have just stayed on the show. And I thought that was kind of a telling thing too, where she was just like, I don't have any purpose for Tom, let alone being on the show besides being famous. And even then, that's probably why you're continuing to speak on it.
If I'm hearing you right, it sounds like that's an admission of, I dated Tom to be famous, but now that I am, I no longer need him.
Or the show.
Yeah. Because she's like, how am I using him? And it's like, well, you did agree to be in a relationship with somebody who's clearly in a relationship while hanging out at their house with their partner. Like, it's not like you weren't aware of the circumstances, but you were hoping that the end result would be he breaks up with Ariana, you move into the house, and you become the new Ariana of the group.
Yeah. I just think we have to acknowledge he might be a shitty boyfriend. He might not be taking any accountability. He might be self-centered. And yes, he can be manipulative. When I say, like, I just don't think he's that sophisticated and Machiavellian that I don't think he's ever playing chess. You know what I'm saying? He might be, it's checkers. It may be manipulative, but it's like, hey, look the other way, and moves the pieces kind of thing, versus like some sort of 5-step manipulation plan of how he's going to do X, Y, or Z. But Tom is, like, I know this sounds corny to say, but despite all of this, Tom is a human being and he does have feelings. And I think we talk about Tom as if like he doesn't, and he doesn't have the right to say, I'm sad about this, or, or my feelings are hurt. And a lot of people have this discourse of if he's not a human being who doesn't have feelings. And just because Tom fucked up doesn't mean that, we can do and say whatever we want to Tom. And just because he's a piece of shit, that allows us to be pieces of shit to him. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, just because of Tom's bad behavior, like Rachel is using Tom's bad behavior to just bizarrely explain all these reasons and banking on the fact that Tom is so hated and so disliked, and everyone's just going to assume Tom's the worst version of this couple, that they're going to buy her bullshit. And it's not landing.
That's her trump card.
Yeah.
She's like, boom. No more.
Well, I was manipulated by Tommy. I wasn't friends with Ariana. It's just like, I think it's so fucking annoying.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
you're making Scheana look like a queen.
Well, speaking of said queen, did you see that she worked a shift at Chili's?
I love that, actually.
I
hope
so
she
cute.
got a lot of tips.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you
25%.
I love that. I love anytime someone who has a bit of celebrity. Lana Del Rey did that not too long ago. I think she did it at a Waffle House. Like waiting tables is it's real work. It's hard work.
It's the hardest job I've ever had. You have to deal with a lot of people. It's physically taxing. Like, it's
and being a celebrity that Scheana is, like, it's not. She put herself in it. Like, that's that's opposite of diva attitude.
It was a good callback for her because her fame came from being a waiter.
Truly.
Yeah. So I thought it was fun to see. I thought the commercial of her and Katie was awesome.
Loved it.
It was so funny. Both of them, from an acting standpoint, very well done.
incredible.
It was really,
Incredible.
really great. Yeah.
And I might stand alone here, but I love Chili's. So
I used to be a big Chili's.
there's something there for everyone.
That was my first girlfriend and I. That was our spot.
I mean,
that and Olive Garden.
Truly,
Olive Garden.
I used to think
Bang for your buck.
I used to think Olive Garden was a fine Italian dining.
Those breadsticks?
Those breadsticks are fine dining.
No, they're not.
I
garbage.
could eat so many of those breadsticks.
Doesn't mean
Truly,
it's
little
good.
Alfredo sauce on the side.
Oh my God.
Oh.
No, all the dipping sauces. I want all of them.
Nick, don't run from your past.
Olive
It's in
Garden is good. And
No.
so is
Olive
Domino's.
Olive Garden is good. Chili's is
Domino's is the best of the fast food chain pizza places.
I don't know about that one.
I agree. No, I agree with that.
Well, I stand by Chuck E. Cheese, so I acknowledge that I'm not the mainstream.
Does Chuck E.
but
Cheese count as
that's-
fast food pizza?
I've said this on episodes before. I like Chuck E. Cheese pizza.
Where are you? Wait, where are you getting a Chuck E. Cheese pizza from?
No, he would order during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Just to put
So, like,
some pizza.
He lived
Chuck
in
E. Cheese was like
NorCal.
struggling to stay open, so they sold their pizzas for like $5 on DoorDash.
This was in Sacramento, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they did it down here too.
You make it sound like
He single-handedly
I don't
saved-
know
that
where
was a
there's a-
secondhand city. It's like,
I
oh,
don't
well, it was in
know.
Sacramento, so like they
Can
just do
you
weird
tell me
shit
where there's
there.
a Chuck E. Cheese in LA?
I've looked it up.
Is there
They're in
one?
LA.
I
I
think
don't know
there's one.
where, but
There's
It's
one in the
probably
valley.
good that you don't
Huh.
know because you're an adult who, well, I know you're pregnant with a child, but like, if you're an adult person without kids and you know where Chuck E. Cheese is,
Or you
red
prefer
flag.
to pick up your pizza?
Well, minus.
No, I agree. I'm saying I would get it
You
delivered.
just happen
I'm
to
not
I respect the fact that you just love,
I
you love
embrace
your
it.
kind of pizza,
Yeah.
you know. But
hysterical.
We should do a taste test.
I know
one
a
time.
great Chuck E. Cheese. Like,
We
holy
should do
shit!
We should do a taste test one time. Chuck E. Cheese versus Pizza Hut versus Domino's.
Domino's will reign superior
Yeah.
every time.
I would say every time I've had Domino's, my stomach sings. That's never happened with Chuck E. Cheese. I will say that.
What's your least favorite fast food chain pizza place?
Oh, pizza place specifically.
Papa John's. Disgusting. Gross.
Oh,
I don't think I've ever
Little
had Papa
Caesars
John's.
with that weird ass
Oh.
square crust.
I used to love Little Caesars as a kid. I grew up on Little Caesars.
Well, Little Caesars used to be $5. Now it's like 20.
20.
Not 20. I exaggerated. Okay, it's like
Justin.
it's like 9. I think.
No, he just did Leia math with the pizza slice at Coachella.
The pizza at Coachella was $15 a slice.
It was not 15.
Yes, it was.
I believe it.
It
It was-
was.
It was 13.
Okay, it was 13.
Yeah.
Okay, it was 13. I said it was 15 and they all made fun of me. I was like, I rounded up $2.
Because she did 15 with a gasp. It was like it was $15.
Wait, but why? I mean, I'm actually Team Leia here.
It was $13.
But
and I
why
said,
did you need
"Oh
to
my God."
exaggerate?
I rounded up because I have OCD and I need even, I know 15 isn't an even number, but I need like even numbers.
Is 15 a prime number?
It
No.
is, yeah. 3, 6,
No.
9,
What?
no, it's
12.
not.
No, it's not.
No, I
5
don't
goes
think
into
so.
it. 3 goes
We
into
all
it.
know.
divide
We
it.
all know I don't know how to do math.
Allie.
What is a prime number again?
I could not
3,
tell
6,
you.
9,
Numbers
12?
can't
Is
go
it 3, 6,
into
9,
it.
12?
3.
Oh, what is prime number?
3.
Prime
7.
means it's not divisible. Like, so Nick keeps saying 6 and 9.
You're
6 and
talking
9
to
are
us
not
like
prime
we
numbers.
know shit.
A prime
Like-
number. A prime number is a whole number greater than 1 that cannot be exactly divided by any whole number other than itself.
We're really consistent with our math here.
3,
7.
7. Like, not 9.
All right,
11.
gangster.
13.
Yeah, why was I
17.
like throwing down a beat? I was like, 3, 7.
You should write a song of all the prime numbers. Write
Honestly,
a rap.
don't tell her that. She'll have one ready to go by
I'll
tomorrow.
need one. That's how I remember things.
But
is
also,
songs.
Miss Rachel, huge sensation that like maybe you should.
Yeah.
Like,
Good
I know it
content.
sounds like a silly idea, but Miss Rachel hits like crazy numbers.
Kids YouTube.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Speaking of singers, Allie and James sang at the LA Times Festival of Books.
I really like Ellie and James. And I
Me
said
too.
this on Reality Recap. I do think she's been great for him. You've seen a more mature James since they've been together. So much so that like he's almost like moved ahead. You know, this episode, Allie's like, I don't even know if I want to have kids or want to get married someday. James is crying on the couch,
Yeah, that was I felt something.
which
there.
I also feel like is really bad timing for her to be launching this music career. Again, love Allie and James. Optics scream she's doing it for not the love. It's just kind of bad timing to have the episode of James like crying because he's always wanted to be a dad. He's always wanted to be a husband. He's in what he thinks is the healthiest relationships he's ever had. He seems to be making the healthiest choices. His career's on the up and up. He seems unlike the rest of the men on Vanderpump. Like, and again, I don't think James, you correct me if I'm wrong, but he doesn't have like squeaky cleanest past.
No.
No.
I don't think he's that. He's had some. He has a bit of a bad reputation with some toxic masculinity traits.
Well, we see it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, recently, say what you want, but like he seems to be the only guy actually demonstrating some growth, right? And I think there's a credit to Allie there. I don't know.
I love Allie. Yeah.
I just hate for their relationship and her career that she's dropping her music video out now on the heels of her being like, yeah, I don't know if I want to be with you forever.
I agree with that.
And I hate that for them. I'm not accusing her or them of anything. I just hate that, there has been chatter on the old internet about her intentions of the relationship.
I mean, the music video and song was produced and directed by James. So it's still a partnership.
No, he is supporting her, man. She's out there, she's singing on stage, and he's like her literal hype person.
I'm curious to see where the next few episodes take us, though, because that conversation didn't end, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I feel like that was.
It could have been one of those Bachelor
end.
episodes where it's just like, oh, I think I'm going to go home. And then like the next episode,
Kelsey's
it's
note.
like.
It's giving Kelsey's note.
I think I'm going home. If there's a whole other side. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I feel like there's definitely going to be more to that conversation that we're going to see in the next few episodes. And then that will, I think, timing wise, that episode and then.
I really like them together. I would be very sad if she ends up breaking up with him for what comes across as like, I'm just like, I don't know, I outgrew him, like short of James doing something that would be deserving of a breakup. And listen, everyone's allowed to people are allowed to change feeling. I hate that nowadays we are very much in a like, people break up. Who caused it? Who's the winner? Who's the loser? Who's the asshole? Who's good guy versus bad guy? Sometimes people have feelings who change. Yeah. Nevertheless, given that like Allie has literally become famous through her relationship with James, it's always going to beg Nallie's had to face the same criticism of like, what were her intentions when we first started dating, so, and again, now that have a kid together and getting married, like it's become less of a thing because it's like, well, hey, we'll see what happens with our relationship. We're going to give it the old college try and we're going to do our best and work our hardest to have the relationship last to the end of time. But we're in it. We're fully committed. Our actions show that like we're two people in a relationship. And it's just like, right now, Allie and James are leaving the door open for people to pick apart why their relationship exists. And that makes me kind of sad because there's so much to like about their relationship. Yeah.
It's timing, and I think there's quotes too, whereas like Allie made it very clear that she was not the next Taylor Swift. So she was like, I'm going to start my astrology business. And so then I think all of a sudden putting out music videos and whatnot, it's going to spark something and haters. And
I love that what they're doing. I think it's hard to be vulnerable, like for, whether it's Scheana's Good as Gold or Allie performing or James being a DJ or even Sandoval singing karaoke. Like, I'm serious. It's hard to put yourself out there. It's hard to try.
Absolutely.
Everyone's a fucking critic. Everyone's going to bash you. As people are always going to rip on people who try things, And so, it might come across as awkward or not the cleanest of performances, but like it takes fucking guts to go out there on stage with a small fucking crowd and sing your song. Like every artist has to start that way. And we always like sound like it's like, oh, they came from the bottom, but like that's fucking hard to do. Yeah. So I'm never going to criticize anyone who's trying to like put themselves out there and build a career. But from an optics standpoint, for Allie, it's just,
No, I agree with you. There was a time I wanted to be a musician and then I was too scared to pursue it. So I can't fault anyone for putting themselves out there like that.
It's
so scary.
It is tough.
I did like one show with Danny and I like my voice was like quivering. It's like it's so scary.
Yeah, because sometimes you have to show up and there's like a crowd of 6 and you feel stupid and you feel like no one cares and you just have to show up there and act like you are Taylor Swift and everyone's excited to see you and you got to embrace it, and that's so hard to do. Credit to them for trying.
Truly.
I just protect the relationship, Anyways, that about does it. We have so much to get into next week on Reality Recap because obviously we'll see. Maybe they'll break up next week. I doubt it, but I think I saw them at Coachella. They seem to be doing really well.
And they're at the Festival of Books.
And they were at the Festival of Books singing songs. All right. Well, it's time for Alex Warren. But before we do, don't forget to send in those questions at AskNick@theviallfiles.com for all things texting office hours. Ask Nick, mediation. You know the drill. Let's get to Alex. Summer brings warmth, but it also brings surprises. With Vessi, get ready to enjoy the season to its fullest, no matter what it throws your way. Embracing every splash with Vessi's technology ensures you stay cool, comfortable, and stylish from city walks to beach escapes. I mean, we are a Vessi household, that is for sure. And honestly, I think Vessi's really taken over the world. I'm seeing people wearing Vessi all over the place, and thank God, because it's about time we keep our feet dry and comfortable. All while being able to wear sneakers. Before, it was always like these kind of very heavy boots that you would have to wear if you wanted to ensure that you keep your feet dry, which is not even practical, especially if you're living in the city. And who wants to wear boots at the beach?
There's nothing worse than walking in a cute pair of shoes, stepping in a puddle, and now your shoe's wet, your foot's wet. It's just a terrible situation. But now you can wear Vessi and you can wear a cute shoe and it not get wet.
Yeah, wear a cute shoe. Don't get wet. The weekend sneaker, my go-to Vessi sneaker, is available in all different colors and sizes for all, so all can be enjoyed. Also, check out their Stormburst low top if you're looking for something a little bit more kind of a more stylish sneaker. Don't let summer showers or slushy puddles hold you back. The Stormburst low top and high top will keep your feet dry and stylish. So, wherever you're going this summer, make sure you are keeping your feet dry and comfortable with Vessi, the best sneaker out there today. Elevate your summer activities with Vessi's Stormburst and weekend shoes. Discover more at vessi.com/VIALL. Get your pair today to get an automatic 15% off your first purchase at checkout and be ready to stay cool and dry. Again, that's vessi.com/VIALL for 15% off your first purchase. I had a coffee spill like crazy. I mean, honestly, now that we're new parents, there's spills everywhere. We're spilling either milk or coffee or drinks. But thank you to Papaya, we are no longer wasting what felt like unlimited paper towels, because Papaya's, their disposable paper towels are bulky, because the reusable paper towels from Papaya replaces 17 rolls of disposable paper towels. That's crazy. 17 rolls just by using one Papaya reusable paper towel.
They're super quick drying, so you don't get that nasty mildewy rag smell. So each pack comes with a signature Papaya hook, so you can actually hang them around your house in different uses. So you can have one, in your laundry room. If you spill some detergent, you can have one in your bathroom. You can have one in the kitchen. You can literally have one everywhere. Hang one in your bathroom to wipe water off your vanity. So many cute designs to choose from.
Yeah, it's middle ground between paper towel and using washcloths that definitely don't dry fast, and they definitely end up stinking. It's gross. Get yourself some Papaya reusable paper towels today and save some money, feel good about the environment, and also the designs are fun. The designs are fun. Go to papayareusables.com and take 30% off site-wide with code VIALL. Again, that's papayareusables.com, PAPAYA, reusables.com to take 30% off site-wide with code VIALL. Alex, welcome.
Hi, thanks.
How are you?
Good. Just finding, I'm learning so much already, and I've been here for 5 minutes.
What's going on with these headphones?
Oh, I don't usually wear them.
You don't have to wear them.
Do I not have to?
You can wear them on your head like that if you want.
Sure.
Okay.
You look like
let's get the YouTube comments up.
Really?
And be like, why is he wearing his headphones? Well, people are so offended sometimes by people's headphone placements.
Some people get triggered by it. I've always seen the way
anything.
that they're wearing their headphones bothers me. I'm just like, that's insane.
You keep looking at me a lot. Is how I'm bothering. Does this bother you?
No.
Okay.
I just like to look at people in the room. Call me a psycho.
So you were shot.
Oh, yeah. I knew this was coming.
Let's just get into it.
I love that. Yeah. I love the segue. That's great.
I just saw that on the notes.
Yeah, fun thing too is the guy who shot me is officiating my wedding.
Oh my.
That's the awesome part.
Yeah.
Do we start?
So this is an accident.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't like, not now we're cool.
No, it was actually fun.
It was fun.
Yeah. I was 18, fully fresh out of my home, and I was literally sleeping in cars or whatever. And I was filming a video with a group of my friends at my friend's house. And he had like a 177 grain, if you're familiar with how big of a caliber that is. It's smaller than a 22.
Okay. And 22 is small.
Yeah. So it's a small, tiny thing. And he didn't know it was loaded from his son's having it loaded. And he just pointed at me and said, run. And so I did. And I got shot. It went through my liver, went up, missed my heart by a few
Wait.
centimeters, and it's stuck in my lung now.
Your friend didn't get arrested?
No, because I lied and said it was ricochet.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's been
How
longer than
many
the
years has
statute
this
of
been?
limitations, so we're good now.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Who is it? And we're still friends. Why are we friends? Why did you do this?
Oh, he was like I don't know. He was very, very apologetic about it, but I don't know. I think that,
Did you almost die?
Yeah, but he was like a father figure to me, funny enough. After my dad passed away, like he did a lot for me. And also when I was homeless, he like gave me a car to sleep in and stuff, probably because of the bullet. But
sorry about
it's a little
that
trade-off.
shooting.
But no, it was something where like, I'm one of the most forgiving people ever. So I also just hate holding grudges and things like that. And ever since then, he's been a huge part of my life, which is cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Was it a large recovery process?
It's not a large recovery process. It's more of like, it hurt like a bitch for the first like week. Cause especially when it happened, it's hot. So it's just burning from the inside of you, which is like the weirdest feeling ever. And I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like you have an itch that like, almost like something where you have to itch it, but it's underneath your skin. So like that was the part for me that was the hardest. And I passed out a few times from it. It was just bleeding inside and
it's still
itch.
there?
Yeah. I can't get an MRI or it rips out of me.
What about a metal detector at a plane?
No, because it's lead.
It's lead. It's not metal.
Yeah.
So you can't go to the airport like, sorry, I was shot.
No,
I got a bullet in me.
I was, that was the exciting part about it. And then I found out lead, obviously. I had a nice little science lesson. And
isn't lead not good to have in your body?
No, definitely not.
What makes
It's not recommended.
What makes a doctor say, you know what, we're just going to leave it in there?
Because they'd have to break my ribs to get it.
Oh.
And there'd be a chance of death, a higher chance of death than just leaving it. So it's capsulized in my lung. And essentially, if I fall from a certain height and land on my chest, there's a chance it could rupture and start bleeding out again, too.
Jesus.
Yeah. So
you're okay.
Yeah, so no MRIs and no jumping off of things.
I was going to say, and stay away from heights.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are there substitutes for MRIs? Like,
Yeah.
I haven't had
PET
an
scan
MRI.
and a CAT scan.
Okay. What's the other one?
PET scan.
PET scan.
Which is funny. What's up with PET?
Yeah,
and
what is a
CAT?
PET scan versus a CAT scan?
I don't know. I just know that
Like,
I get
what is
a
like?
PET scan.
Why do they specify one particular pet and the rest are just like, you know what?
Generalized.
Generalized.
Right. There's no dog scan.
Yeah. Where's the bird scan?
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't. Someone could Google it. I don't even know what a PET scan is. I just know I have to get those instead of an MRI.
It's a real. The first time in my life I've heard of
You've
it.
never heard of a PET scan?
Same.
I've heard of a CAT
Wow.
scan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've
Mostly
heard
because of the movie
PET scan
Varsity
has
Blues.
more to do with like
I've
people
never
use
seen
that
that
for like
movie.
cancerous areas.
A PET scan is for cancerous areas.
Mm-hmm.
What's a CAT scan for?
So a CAT scan is taking pictures of various angles to show images of the patient's body organs, tissues, and bones. Then the PET scan shows how patient's cells react to radio tracer, which may indicate cancerous areas. The combined PET and CAT scans join these two technologies together.
And then an MRI is different.
We're learning so much.
I know, right?
Science
A CAT
class.
scan and an MRI scans look at the form of the structures inside of your body. And again, the PET scan looks at their function. So that's why Alex can swap out the MRI for the CT.
How long ago was this?
I was 18, so I'm 23 now. So
5 years. Wow.
yeah,
That's
like,
crazy.
I'm not very good at math.
Nobody in this office is. 18.
I'm pretty good.
I think 18 was a big year for you too, because you also met your fiance, correct?
Yeah.
Were you guys high school sweethearts?
No, she's from Hawaii.
Oh my God.
How did you meet?
And-
Snapchat, funny enough, the weirdest way. Yeah, our friend was
Who sent the first nude?
Jesus Christ. I don't know. That's a good question, actually. I'm gonna plead the fifth in case anyone hacks that. But no, I don't know. My friend moved to Hawaii, and she put on her story that she was looking for roommates. Somehow got mixed up with my fiance, and I kept seeing her on like Snapchat stories, and I was like, "Holy shit! Like she's beautiful!" Like, and I kept hitting her up. And at the time, I think she had a boyfriend, and I was like, "Oh, I can't do that. Sorry." And then something happened, and she hit me back, and we started talking. She flew out, then I flew out to surprise her, and she flew out again. And then one time, I just told her I had a place to stay, and she should move in with me. Like after 4 months of long distance, she moved out, and the place I had to stay in was a car.
And how did
You
she
moved in. She moved into your car.
She said, "Fuck it," and she did it.
What kind of car was it?
It was a 1994 Volvo, like one of those wagons. It's my favorite car ever. Stick shift. It's awesome.
like a station wagon?
And you
Nice.
were literally living in it.
Yeah. I had nowhere else to live.
And this was in LA.
No, this is I'm originally from San Diego, so
Oh,
Carlsbad, if you've
okay.
ever heard of it.
And how did you end up living in a car?
All the way from the beginning. After my dad passed away, my mom became an alcoholic. I think that was just the easiest thing for her to kind of figure out how to cope with everything happening. And also, there's 4 of us. So I think after a while.
You have 3 siblings.
Yeah. Oh. So my dad fought cancer a few times, and they told him that he was fine. And then he got it again and again until it was terminal. And it was kidney cancer. So he removed a kidney, and they're like, okay, cool, you're good now. And then he got it again. And they're like, well, we can't remove this one. So I think it was just like over the period of the 7 years that he was fighting this, I think went to alcohol. For a long time, it was a problem where she'd be driving us drunk and, something would happen. Or when she started getting physical and stuff, I kind of noticed the alcohol in her breath. And I would find them and I'd be like, hey, you're an alcoholic. You need to get this figured out. And I think because I'm the only one who called her out on it, I was the person who got all the shit.
Yeah.
So
where do you fall in line with the siblings? Oldest, youngest, middle?
I'm like the middle. There's 4 of us. So I have an older sister, older brother, me, and then a younger sister.
So they didn't get kicked out. You got kicked out.
I got kicked out. My brother went to the Marines, came back, got kicked out, and then my little sister started getting it. I was the surrogate. I was the person who got it. Once I left, everyone else started getting it. And my older sister left before all of it.
How's everyone doing now?
Good. My brother's still a Marine. I think everyone chose to cope with everything we went through in different ways. I think it's really difficult. So, for whatever they're doing, it's nice. They're all coming to my wedding. We're all very, very close, which is nice.
Is that why you are such a forgiving person as you describe? Like, where do you think that comes from? And what do you mean by have you ever not forgiven someone?
I haven't. No, there's so many people who have probably I've had plenty of people who try and ruin my career with a YouTube video, and I see them the next day out at Saddle Ranch, and I'm like, hey, how are you?
What do you mean that you've had plenty of people try to ruin your career?
I just think a lot of times, when I first started getting popular on social media, people would come out with YouTube videos being like, the truth about Alex Warren. Right. And I'm just like,
what was the truth?
I think the biggest thing was just when I was going through that period of my life, there was things I did that I wasn't happy with. Looking back now, I mean, I did a lot of dumb shit. So it's
just growing up stuff.
Yeah, and no, it's just the thing. It's when you start getting popular on social media, people are going to be like, well, one time in 6th grade, Alex did, and it's just
that's where we're going right now.
Right, but no, I just genuinely am a very forgiving person. I think it's a lot more work to hold resentment and things like that, and I also think
that is true.
I don't know. Life's short. People die, and I'd rather not have that on my conscience and be cool with everyone.
When did you discover you had a voice of an angel?
I still don't think I have a voice of an angel, which is the funniest shit. No, I just like telling my story.
You have a nice voice.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You are making good music.
Thank you. I appreciate it. No, I've just been making music since I was 13, 14. I thought that's what would get me a girlfriend in the beginning, which was nice. That it did not, and it was crazy. But I just wanted to write songs about getting my heart broken by a girl in 6th grade.
Cute.
Girl in 6th grade.
I love it.
Well, did your first night with your girlfriend, the first night you spent with your girlfriend, or now fiance, you slept in the car?
No, I balled out for this one. I got $70. I took her to In-N-Out for the first time. Okay. And then I got us a Motel 6. Okay. Yeah. But and every day we go down to my hometown and we drive past and I'm like, memories. It's cool.
What about the second night?
Car.
Yeah. That's love.
I could only ball out for one night, guys.
What did she think about the car? What was her perspective and how did you break that to her?
I think the biggest thing for her too is it was so different. She's from an island. So
what island was she from?
Oahu.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think
the main one?
Yeah. I mean, depending on who you are.
My dad's from Hawaii, so that's why.
Oh, no shit, really?
Yeah.
Like Honolulu.
Yeah.
He's from
yeah,
the
touristy one, yeah. I think she was super down for it, but I also think it was just because obviously she's from an island. She's now in California. There's no parents to tell us anything. She had just dropped out of college, left her home, and was kind of let's do it. So it's kind of it was a fun thing. There was no way that we could get any worse than where we were at. I think she saved up $500 to move out there. I had nothing. We didn't want to dip into that. So we were kind of just figuring out ways to make money and things like that. And it was really fun. Every morning we woke up and it's holy cow, we were 4 months long distance and now you're right in front of me. It doesn't really matter where we're sleeping.
Yeah.
So it was really rad.
I find it so romantic.
Sierra's I want to live in a car with
so
my
many people are
too.
God, that's such a red flag that you didn't tell her that you were sleeping in a car. And I'm like, you're fully right. Yeah. Looking back, I agree.
I didn't know there wasn't a heads up, but at the same time, I don't know. I think there's something really cute about the fact that you guys did a long distance and then get in a car together and be like, well, at least we're together.
Well, she's just so rad. She's so easy, going and super down for whatever.
Yeah.
So it's oh, cool. after like that, I was like, wow, that's special. Because I feel like not many people would fucking do that.
Then you were saying that you needed to find ways to make money. So
Yeah.
what was the game plan from there?
It was mostly just finding jobs. Like she got a job. She loves kids, so she got a job at a daycare.
Okay.
And then I started working at a oyster bar. And while we were both working, once we were off or before, I've been doing social media since I was 11. Like I've been trying to make it as a musician, and then that didn't work. So I started making content, trying to like become like, I was really obsessed with like Logan Paul and them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd start making like content like that with Cover and everything. And yeah, we started making videos, and one day one just blew up, and I was at work and I went to the bathroom and I was like, holy shit. So I texted Cover and I was like, let's try this. And we kept doing it and started making money, and it took about 4 months, and all of a sudden we were doing pretty fine.
Sorry. Did you start with a series or something about like your day-to-day life, or was it like just hopping on TikTok?
No, I never told
trends?
anyone I slept in the car. I waited till after.
Okay.
Because I don't, that wasn't popular back then. Back
Sure.
then, that was like the Jake Pauls and the Logan Pauls and everyone running around being like, look how rich I am. So like me being like, hey, I live in a car, I feel like was not the status quo at the time.
Right.
Or not as cool as it is
could have been
now.
like Bizarro Logan Paul.
Sure,
know?
it could have been for sure. But I think the biggest thing is like so many people looked at social media. People are like, wow, their life's so different
Sure.
from ours. And it's like, for me, I was like, I pretended my life was different, but not in that way.
Right.
So back to the hype, like the hype house that Sierra was talking about. Always remember hearing so much about it when it started. Like, did it start in COVID?
Yeah.
What was the origins of that?
So I had if we fast forward from where we were just at, I had a apartment with a bunch of my friends, and we would just film videos every week, and it was all the people who let me sleep in their cars before I got my car. So it was fun because like, you know, they helped me out. So I paid the rent and we all lived together. It was just a bunch of us. And we would just film crazy shit. Like we would literally, like if it was ding dog ditching all our neighbors, and then like running down, we had 3 staircases, and we would like get mattresses and slide down, like just random shit like that. Going to parties and filming the parties and everyone. And it was super fun. Thomas Petru, the guy who helped create it, saw my videos and was like, yo, like we should do this on a larger scale. And I was like, oh, cool. So he's like, move out to LA. And we moved out to LA. I came up with the name. I introduced him to everyone, got everyone to join the thing. And then we said, cool. And then we made an Instagram account and just posted the next day, and it blew up just from that.
Who was all part of that?
Like Charlie D'Amelio, do you know? Yeah. Addison Rae. I think like all like the major, like Lil
social
Ray.
media stars. It was big.
Yeah.
It was big. Did you base that off of Team 10, or was that like a competitor?
It wasn't a competitor. It was more of like there was no content houses at the time. We didn't even like, we just needed a name. Like, that was the thing. Like we were already filming content, and it was just like an extension of what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was the biggest thing. It's like, oh, we need to make an Instagram. What do we name it? And I'm like, oh, let me come up with a name for it. And I came up with Hype House because I thought of hype was like the new word. And I was like, oh, like this is cool. We'll name it Hype House. And you only know like 4 people in it. So they're going to be like, oh, how is this a hype house? Who are these people? And they would make you learn who they were.
Nice.
Do you think the kind of age of the TikToker influencer is dead? The reason I ask that is it's like, I see, like for you, for example, you're making music now. Like, you know, you came in here as a musician, you have music videos, you have your thing.
Yeah.
Addison Rae, you know, she's done some movies. Charlie D'Amelio, she has her TV show with her family.
Like
There's been a handful of obviously very big names who have used their TikTok presence as TikTokers and been able to kind of make that jump into something else. You know, like you've been able to find your lane.
Yeah.
And it seems like almost kind of like a reality TV star who, like, you know, might find, you know, they'll get a bump on a TV show, but then, you know, eventually they have to figure out something other than just being known for being on that TV show. They can't just live off that for a while. And it almost seems like TikTokers are kind of the same, or you've seen a lot kind of come and go. It seems like just to be a TikToker doesn't have a lot of staying power. You kind of almost have to find something else that is your passion that you want to do. Or is that an accurate read by me? Because it seems like during the pandemic, TikTokers was all the rage. It's like, oh, I want to be a TikToker. Now it's like, you don't really hear from a lot of these people that were big names. And also, like on TikTok, you have people coming out of every week there's a new, viral person who's all of a sudden blowing up their account, and, you're kind of competing, and it's kind of short-lived. And unless they find their thing. You know, it's
can only loaded ass question.
Yeah. So what do you think? Kind of the guy who started Hype House. What's your read on the state of TikTok as an influencer? Do you recommend it for young aspiring people who want to do like what's your read on it?
I think the music thing came really natural, especially considering I started doing music. So it was like, oh, this is what I've wanted to do since the beginning. And I didn't do, a lot of times people will do it when things are going down and they're like, oh shit, I need a career change. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the problem is instead of like people will have that moment you were just talking about. And then it's just that moment and they never, it's like someone who makes music and they put out one song, their first song's a hit and they can never back it up.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with social media. It's so, nowadays it's very easy to, it's all luck obviously, but it's so easy to manufacture your luck now by how often you can post.
Yeah, it's more formulaic.
Right.
Yes.
So if you just post all the time, they're more likely to have that one moment. You have that one moment, you're like, holy shit, I'm an influencer now. And then you can't back it up because you have no idea why it happened in the first place.
Sure.
But to your extent as well, like, people do want to be social media stars, but I think all for the wrong reasons as well. I think a lot of them, if you watch a lot of videos, a lot of them are out of touch with reality after they've been in it for a very long time. They're like, wow, I can't believe, I only made this much off of this video or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is like, I think in today's day and age, especially in this economy, everyone's like, oh, I want to post a YouTube video and make all this money, which is cool. But like also you'd be in it for the wrong reasons, which a lot of people are in it for the wrong reasons. Like I think the whole thing is entertaining, to be an entertainer. And as you start making more money, it's really hard to keep that entertainment going, I guess.
Like one name that comes to mind, I think he was part of the Hype House, like Vinny Hacker. He did there was a boxing match. He kind of blew up on the internet. People like me who didn't really follow TikTokers started hearing about these people. It seemed like he was all the rage. And the first time I saw Vinny Hacker's name and the longest time was now, prepping for your interview. Now, maybe I'm not following his career, but like, is that, Vinny, again, for a while, he was all over the place. He was like the hottest ticket in town, and everyone, it was like, this is going to be the next young guy. And honestly, I forgot he existed.
Vinny as an example. Vinny is funny. So I actually ran into Vinny this weekend. Vinny never wanted to do this. Like, that's the thing. When I say it's luck, Vinny does not care about any of this. If it was up to Vinny, he would just play video games all day in his room. But somehow he keeps getting more and more like I would say famous in a retrospective, like him, people just post when he's out. Like people just post him when he's out. So like to a demographic that isn't us, like 14-year-old girls, right. Vinny is all the fucking hype. Everyone's like, fuck,
he's a good-looking cat, yeah.
Dude, he's great looking. He's like the modern day Ashton Kutcher. So, but he doesn't care about that. If he really wanted to, he'd go out and do all this stuff. I was in Europe like a month ago and I saw Vinny's face on the side of a building. So like,
oh, good for him.
Yeah. So it's more of like, he just doesn't give a shit. If it was up to him, he'd just play video games all day.
But it's also like what you said, where it's like it's almost working for him in the sense that it's like his thing is video games. Like, yeah. And so it's like that's
he streams
all he
a lot
about.
And people tune into his stream, but it's like only if you're into video games that you'll actually watch him.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I'm sure there's other people. It's just more,
if Vinny
he
became
so mainstream that people like me but that was because didn't follow were here,
That was people like Thomas would like be like, if you don't post, you have to move out. Like it was like that. So like Vinny had to be able to live with his friends and play video games or whatever, he had to be posting and had to be mainstream to do all those things. And now that he's not a part of that anymore, he bought an apartment, bought a ton of cars. He just works on his cars and plays video games.
Okay.
How much did you have to post during the Hype House?
Dude, it was so weaponized. That was the problem. Like it's all fun and games when you live with your friends, but at a certain point it became this thing, like we accidentally did it. Right. So when we made the account, we weren't expecting anything. And especially the next day it blows up and everyone we start having news channels come to the house. Mm-hmm. Paparazzi start waiting outside the house. It was right during COVID. So no one had anything better to do than watch TikTok.
Yeah, you guys are really keeping the internet going for a while.
Well, that was the thing. And so everyone, like, it was like, we would make jokes. It's like, if you don't post 3 TikToks, you can't eat, because of how hard Thomas was on everyone about posting.
Who is Thomas?
He's the...
He's
the guy who'll take credit. He's the guy who will take credit for creating a Hype House.
In my head, he's the guy who it's like he's the equivalent of the guy Lou Pearlman who started like NSYNC and Backstreet. Mm-hmm. The guy, the big guy who just started all those big boy bands back in the day. Who was this kind of that was his thing. You know who I'm talking about.
I think Thomas is I'm not speaking in terms with him, but if
well, fuck it.
Hate Thomas.
But that being said, like he's just someone who wanted to be a part of something very badly and found himself very luckily in the hands of Hype House.
What's his last name?
Petru.
What's he look like? How old is
he's a good looking dude.
Is he older?
Yeah, he's 26, 25.
Can you pull
He's
him
older
up?
than me, sorry.
It's not that old.
No, it's not older as in that. I'm just saying he's older than me.
So how many people would live at the Hype House, like in any given time, or what was the largest amount of people? How
I
many
think we had
roommates
20
did you have?
people
20?
at one point. But we also lived in
What a
a
nightmare.
14,000 square foot house with
Like 8 stories?
14 bedrooms, and people would share a bedroom.
Like, would there have to be like team meetings, or like
Yeah.
how do you regulate that many people and like couples, friends falling out? Like how do you normalize that?
It's hard because it is like high school drama.
Yeah.
And I think also, we had 14 people living there, but imagine like everyone had like a few friends over.
Mhm.
And like, I think that was the hardest part, and especially how it died so quickly, in my opinion, is people just started getting egos and wanting their living situation a certain way when it's like you live in a frat house. Like
Yeah.
it was a frat house, but people were like, I want it to be perfect. I want everything to be perfect in this household. And it's like there's a party in someone else's bedroom because it's not. Like it's just crazy. One day I'd wake up at 2 a.m. and there's someone's throwing a party upstairs. I have Harry Jowsey pouring Chick-fil-A sauce on someone's nipples. It's crazy.
Harry Jowsey. I ran into him over at Coachella.
Oh, you were there?
For a minute.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love Harry.
He was.
I just have the image now of Chick-fil-A sauce.
That's
being
how I
poured
met
on
Harry
nipples.
Styles. Sorry, not Harry Styles.
You met Harry Styles?
I wish. That's how I met Harry Jowsey. He was. I heard screaming, and I walk upstairs, and drunk Harry Jowsey is pouring Chick-fil-A sauce on my friend's nipples,
Which friend?
calling him a naughty possum. It was crazy.
I wouldn't
Yummy.
last a day.
No, yeah, I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Was Taylor Holder part of this Hype House?
Oh God, yeah,
He was.
Yeah.
Whatever happened with that?
I am not going to say anything about that.
Do you know?
No,
Were you sent a cease and desist?
no.
Okay.
No. I have no bad blood with Taylor Holder either. I'd rather not get involved
Speak
in
on
that.
I just remember that he was part of all the rage, and then it seemed like
Yeah, he moved to Nashville. He's doing country music, and
I saw him at Stagecoach last
Oh,
year.
did you?
Dressed in like as a country singer. I was like, oh, he's making another shift.
Yeah.
Um,
I love how he's not afraid to say shit. That's
Not at all.
awesome.
I don't care. I just I figured maybe after a while we could get to the bottom of this. Like for 3 days, it was like there was going to be some shit coming out. Everyone's
Yeah.
talking on TikTok, and then it just all went away.
I think the biggest thing is everyone talks and talks and talks, but no one really does anything.
Yeah.
But,
So I'll ask you one more question.
yeah,
What
and
about-
I'm gonna answer it in the best media training I can.
All right. Well, we'll both do our best. You mentioned earlier that for a while everyone was trying to cancel you, or kind of Alex.
Not everyone, but a few
But sure,
people.
yeah, you've had a couple people post videos that in attempting to ruin your career. Do you think that the stuff about Taylor was more aligned with what you experienced? Or do you think it was more, there was maybe something beneath the surface that no one can seem to uncover?
That is a fantastic question. I will say that it's not a situation where in my situation, people were making those videos of me not to hurt me, but to gain something for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Where I think in this situation, it's less about gaining something for themselves and more about their experiences going not the way that they wanted. It's the best way I can answer that.
Experiences not going the way that they wanted. That could mean so many
I
different
wish I could
things.
explain more. That's the best way I can explain it without getting into it.
Okay.
I wasn't there. It's
Yeah.
the best answer.
Do you think
I didn't see anything.
Do you think he is a good person?
Oh, from what I've experienced with him, I think that he is a good person. Yes. That
Okay.
being said, for the things that I've heard about him, I do not think he's a good person.
Okay. And do you think the things you've heard about him are true?
I have no way to know that.
What's
That's
your
the
gut
problem.
tell you? What is your instinct?
See, I didn't know him that well. That's the thing. Even though I lived with him, that's the craziest part.
There's 20 of you.
Well, there's 20 of us, and you didn't see each other that often. That was the problem.
But I
So
guess
it's
what I'm
like,
saying is, what it's like to have rumors being spread about you. We all know. I
Not
know
to
what
that
it's like.
extent.
I know
No,
what it's like. Yeah, and
but
it's
it's more of I think it's not necessarily just rumors. It's also no one wants to say anything, and that's the other thing.
that is clear. Yeah.
So that's also indicative of other things. I think
Man, someday
someday you'll probably
we'll
find.
we'll get to the bottom of it. Yeah.
It's definitely not going to be me.
The reason I actually thought about him is because he too was trying to make an attempt in music. And I think some people, I do remember one day seeing him sing on TikTok. I wasn't sure if it was his real voice. Now, you sing in bathrooms. And it seems like, well, this motherfucker can sing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And when it comes to the music industry, specifically with TikTokers and young people, do you have to face criticism and accusations about you using kind of what's the auto-tune? Yeah, and
rightfully
things like
so,
that.
though. Here's the thing, and I will fully do this. I'll back this till the day I die. There are so many more people, way more talented than I am ever going to be. That's the thing about music, though, is like nowadays it really doesn't take you to be necessarily too talented. That being said, I think a lot of people, when they're TikTokers, get a huge ego because it's like, oh, look, I have X amount of millions of followers. I'm just going to do this switch and they watch my TikToks. Why won't they listen to my music? I've done vocal lessons 3 times a week for the last 3 years of my life. I've done guitar lessons. I've learned music theory. I've taken classes for everything and anything I can do because I don't want to be just a random person who's like, oh, I can do this. Let me just dabble in it. Like for the last 3 years of my life, I've been doing everything I should have been to become a musician. And I think a lot of other people will just go into a room with very talented writers and be like, hey, I want to write a song about my boyfriend breaking up with me. And then the writers will go to town and they'll sit there on TikTok and just be like, oh, that's a good line. And then they'll just sit there and then they'll go on TikTok the next day and be like, look at this song I wrote. And it's like, it's crazy. But that's the music industry. That happens all the time.
Yeah, but it must be frustrating for someone like yourself who's putting in all the work.
No, not at all. I think the problem is, like, it's just whatever you do. If you're able to market your song and you can make it look like you're singing it live, fuck yeah. Good shit. It's all about the audience anyway. If they love it, they love it.
Whose music career do you respect the most, and what do you love most about Taylor Swift?
Ooh. It's so crazy. My fiance is obsessed with Taylor Swift. Like,
you're not?
It's not that I'm not obsessed. It's not I think she's one of the most talented songwriters in the world. I've never just thrown on a Taylor Swift song, though, in my car. That being said, it's our first dance song.
Okay.
It's
Which
like
song? Which
a
one?
Lover.
Lover.
Yeah. So, like, that's the thing. Like, I will listen to Taylor Swift all the time because Cover's listening to her, so I know the songs and everything. But I like to listen to songs that speak more to me. And I think a lot of times it's like a Louis Capaldi, or I really like Steven Sanchez right now. I'm just obsessed with like those really like gnarly vocals with talking about dead people or whatever. So it's fun.
A regular Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah. I also like listening to a lot of my friends' music, like Benson Boone and David Kushner and those guys.
I guess, what kind of musician do you hope to be? Like, what kind of career trajectory? And like, are there, there's music you like to listen to, but in terms of career trajectory and how you're trying to model your career or what you want for your music career, do you have any people that you pull inspiration from?
I don't know. My whole goal is to be able to sell out whatever tour I'm planning and to be able to like make really good music, which is the most cliche fucking answer. But I don't know. I love Ed Sheeran's work ethic. Everyone fucking hears about it. He's one of the most talented songwriters. He's probably written everyone else's songs. And I think I just want to work with like a lot of the people I grew up watching or listening to. So I think that's like the coolest thing. I really want to have a song with like the legends or whatever.
Ed Sheeran. Yeah, didn't he write a couple of Justin Bieber songs?
Yeah.
He's done a lot.
He's like written a lot of songs
A lot
for
of songs.
a lot of artists.
How rich do you think Ed Sheeran is?
Oh, like the top end of hundreds of millions.
Yeah, he just like he sold out his own
His
stadium
whole
tour.
His whole tour was $1.3 billion that he made, and it's just him and a guitar.
Yeah.
So it's
I
like
know, it's
the
crazy.
costs are very minimal.
And as a song, you make more writing songs, don't you?
No,
No.
you make
Don't.
more producing the song. Writers actually infamously do not make a lot of money
What's the difference between
because you can write a
producing-
third and it's write a word, get a third.
Yep.
Like this the saying.
Interesting.
If you just change a word, you're a writer.
Producing is like making the music, like
They make
pulling,
the most money.
Yeah,
Besides
the
the artist, the
sounds.
artist makes
Yeah.
the most money out of that.
Okay. And do you also produce?
I've been learning. It's hard. It's really difficult, especially because like there's different, they call them DAWs, but different systems that you can obviously edit vocals on. And depending on who you ask, they'll say a different one is better. It's just a lot of work.
And so, like, being a good music producer is just kind of having the ear for it.
You have to understand where the song's going. So like if I'm writing a song, I have a guitar and I'm playing a 4-chord progression, most likely, and I'm just coming up with a melody and lyrics over it. It's the producer's job to then be like, okay, what else does this song need? What tempo is this song? What key are we doing it in for the best of the singer? You just put random noises and hope they work. Like I've seen videos of Phineas or Charlie Puth switching a light bulb, and he liked that and thought it'd be funny, so he put it in as a kick, I think, or a snare.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's quite literally just how creative can you be? They're the most creative one in the room, I would say.
Like Benny Blanco. Like nobody knew about him until he put out songs, but he like wrote like all of like Rihanna's hit, Britney's hits. Like he's been producing these artists' music for so long, and then it's like finally gets like that
Benny
moment.
Blanco's set for life, dude.
Genuinely.
Because of all the music he's produced.
He's made God knows how many Billboard top hits.
All of them. Justin Bieber, Selena, Britney. Like we're talking decades
Like the Ed
long.
Sheeran songs that he wrote, Benny Blanco produced.
Damn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the producer can also change one word and become a writer.
Who are the top producers in the music industry?
Jack Antonoff.
Jack Antonoff right now, yeah, because of Taylor Swift, but also he does...
Lana, Lord. I'm a stan.
Yeah.
It's like, I can name them all.
Yeah. Then there's like legends who've done just like the biggest songs.
Can I ask you about your songwriting process? Like
Sure.
how does it work? Is it like something pops into your head and then you're like, I got to write this down and build off of it? Or
I have a book. Like I literally, when I'm bored, I'll just go in a book and be like, all right, well, just think. Like it's therapy for me. So for an hour, I'll just think of all the bad things that have ever happened to me and I write them down. Or good things that are happening to me and I write them down. And then I just try to come up with like where I want the song to be. So like I typically take references. So like what songs I grew up listening to, what I liked about those songs, how can I make this my own? And then I'll find whatever song idea I've come up with and apply it to whatever song I think would work better. So like a song like Counting Stars by One Republic is cool because it's about like, you know, trying to make it out and like, you know, it's a very ambitious song. So then it's like, let me find a song idea about mine that would apply to that. And then how do I take what did well in that and what I didn't like in that and
make it your own. Yeah, that's awesome. It's so cool.
I'm like the dumbest person when it comes to music. I know
He's like, let's just talk more shit.
He's like, so who do you hate from Hype House?
Yes. I just I'm always fascinated about music because I don't know anything about it. I'm like, I always describe myself as the top 40 guy.
Okay.
You know, there'll be like a new song. Well, not new. I'll be like, you ever heard this new song? They'll be like, it's been out for a couple of years, Nick.
Were you like a mixtape person? Like all of the hits in one, maybe like a now 34 compilation type of guy?
Yeah, like back in the day. I
forgot about
like what was those?
It's a big JoJo Siwa
Now
guy.
50s.
He's a big
I
JoJo
am JoJo's
Siwa.
big JoJo.
She's my
Siwa
neighbor.
guy. She's my friend. Yeah, she's your neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see her cars all the time. I'm like driving past her house.
I really need her to take the decals off her car.
It's such a good marketing, dude. Anywhere she drives, people go,
No,
JoJo
I get
Siwa,
it.
and they go, damn, I forgot.
I'm
Let me go
JoJo's
listen to her
biggest
song.
fan. I'm her biggest defender. I'm her rider. I'll always have her back.
What were your thoughts on her new hit?
She needs to get
Dude,
rid of
marketing.
the detail.
Dude, fuck whatever you say. Her marketing is hilarious and awesome, regardless of whether it's planned or it's her. I love to see when people are like spicing shit up. Like, regardless of whether or not she wrote that song, like when people are like, oh, she said she wrote that song. And it's like, she said that this song is about whatever. Like, most people, when they get so many people take demos. Like,
Yeah,
God, like
she
if
didn't
you
say she
actually go on
wrote it.
Spotify and you check people's songs and you press show credits, she didn't write the song. Other people wrote it and pitched it to her. She said, yeah, I want it. And then she puts it out with her voice on it. And then the writers can also go to the girl who originally was supposed to have it and she can put it out too and give the writers the percent. If
like, didn't
JoJo
she
wrote
make-
it, then they'd have to get JoJo's approval.
Yeah, how's it? Because I saw a girl make a video.
The Brit Smith girl.
Yeah, and some like the JoJo trolls were trying to like almost like you were saying about you. They're trying to gotcha, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's clear that they don't know. I think a lot of people who are like commenting on that don't understand the industry,
How the music industry works.
Right.
or that
So-
like Ed Sheeran writes Justin Bieber's music and things
Right.
like that. But how does that work for the?
Well, I
people
don't think
who
JoJo
understand?
licensed the song. I think JoJo just put her voice on the song, sang the song, and then put it out.
What does
They're-
that mean?
So like, she doesn't own the rights to that song. She owns the rights to her voice on that song. So if someone wants to use her voice on that song, they'd have to ask her for permission, pay her, whatever.
Okay.
But the fact that she's not a writer or a producer means she had no stake in the making of that song. So the writers and producers, like let's say Brit Smith, the girl who put it out just now, but recorded it in 2012, she has the rights to that voice, that song with her voice on it. So she can post that and not have to ask JoJo Siwa.
She wrote the song.
No, she didn't write the song. It was pitched to her in 2012. It was originally made for Miley Cyrus.
Who wrote the song? Do we even
Random
know?
songwriters. The
Some random
songwriters
person.
responsible for a lot of the songs on High School Musical. And
So
things
why
like
did that girl make a video implying that like somehow she was wronged?
Wait, which one, Britt?
I don't.
I'm
know.
not. I'm not
I
up to
don't-
date on that. I just saw
This
that
is the
she
one
came
about
out.
this is the one about the girlfriend, like the song about having an ex-girlfriend or something.
Karma?
No, you're thinking of the Emmeline one.
Okay.
So the song that she
Despite
teased,
me being JoJo's good friend, I don't know her entire
So,
catalog.
no, I'm
memorized.
fully deep in the JoJo Siwa lore.
Oh,
I
break
love
it
it so
down.
much. Okay, so she did a pop-up release thing, right? Where she decided to promote all the songs that she has upcoming, like get fans excited for it. So we all do it, right? So she started playing a bunch of these songs and fans recorded it and posted it. And since anything with JoJo Siwa's face goes viral right now, they all went viral. And there's a song that she promoted that had supposedly her voice on it. And the girl who originally wrote that song and made that song never put it out 2 years ago. So then she sent it out. What happens when I write probably 30 songs a year? I only put out probably 6 to 7, depending if I put in an album.
And when you say put out, those are ones that
post.
You record, you
post,
sing, you post. Okay.
So what do I do with the songs that I haven't done anything? Like they're just sitting in a vault somewhere.
Right.
You can go and say, hey, to your publishing team and say, hey, I have all these songs. Send it to whoever you want. Let's see who wants it. And then I approve who wants to sing on it.
Okay.
So what happened was
like fishing. You're just
It's like making money on work that you did that you won't be putting out.
Sure.
I think Emmeline, the girl who made the original, I think that's her name, and I apologize if I'm fucking it up. She promoted that song, the one that you're talking about, and it went viral on TikTok like 2 years ago.
Okay.
And so when people saw that JoJo was promoting that song, they go, I've heard this before. I know this song. And then they pointed to her and it sounded like the same vocal. And that's why people were upset. It's like, you said that this is about your ex when this is already a song and you said you're singing it, but it sounds exactly like her vocal. That's why people are upset. But I don't understand why she goes, I didn't approve of this. You had to have probably known it was happening.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but that would insinuate that she didn't write it.
Yeah. And what about the same vocal part? I mean,
I don't know.
Is that
I also didn't. I only know the T because I watched a video. I don't know that. I'm so chronically online, but I don't go that far.
No, I know JoJo was here and she humbly acted like she doesn't know how to, like for me, anyone who can sing happy birthday pretty well is a good singer to me. I have
not me.
Truly can't sing.
Mm-hmm.
What's funny is I can't even sing happy birthday well.
There's that pitch that
but you
goes up and you're just like, no.
But JoJo was here being like, hey, I'm an entertainer. I don't consider myself like the greatest singer of all time. I have no idea if JoJo has, when she's making her music, if she uses the technology like auto-tune.
Everyone uses auto-tune.
Okay, so everyone uses auto-tune.
Like Adele uses auto-tune. Everyone uses it. Like,
okay,
that's the thing.
So my question is like, now with auto-tune being such a thing, and I'm guessing there's a spectrum of how much one might use auto-tune.
Yeah.
Like
some people make it their song.
100%.
T-Pain to Adele.
So is it possible for JoJo, let's say she like sang her song, used some like auto-tune, but the auto-tune made it seem like so close to the original type of like why and
that would also mean that her
opinion
that would also mean her vocal inflections and tone would have to exactly match her. I mean, you could.
Do you think it sounded too similar?
When I heard both of them, like keep in mind, it's so difficult when you hear a third party, someone filming something coming out of speakers and then posting it, and then someone making a video about that. It's difficult to compare, but like. It is possible that they just used her voice as a backtrack, put JoJo's new voice and just put them at the same level so you hear both. So the inflections are there. Like that's what typically people do live. If they're nervous about a live performance, they'll put the tracks, which is like literally the exact song. Like let's say you played my song through a speaker. They just play it through the speaker at a show and then they turn your mic up just as loud as the lead vocal so you can't tell.
Interesting.
So if like they want to lip sync it randomly at one point, you wouldn't be able to tell if they're doing it or not.
And when a musician or an artist lip syncs, is it lip syncs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are they actually singing or are they just like...
I don't know. That's a great question. I've never seen it in person.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean?
If they're lip syncing,
he's
are
asking.
they singing?
Let's say if they're lip syncing, which means it's not their actual voice,
right?
But their mic is turned off. Are they actually singing and it's just fucking ass, or are they pretending to lip sync?
I have noticed for the good lip syncers that like they actually speak. Were me since I don't know.
So music video wise, we lip sync. We lip sync
my mouth.
We lip sync our music videos. Obviously
you do.
Well, yeah, you have to.
I don't know.
Yeah, you have to. You play the track in the back and you lip sync it, but it's awkward as fuck because in the room. Whatever. So I actually sing, and it's like giving like giving the crew like an actual performance. I'm actually singing the entire song. It's also great practice for when I have rehearsals. But some people will just pretend to sing. But I think the whole thing is like I think there's such a stigma on lip syncing, autotune, or whatever on live shows. But at the end of the day, it does not matter if, like for me, I'll sing without autotune or anything because I like the vocal imperfections. And I also like people knowing that my microphone is on. But there's so many times where I sound like ass, or at least in my opinion, I sound like ass.
Sure.
And people in the audience were like, that was fucking fantastic. I loved it so much. People who are running a ton of tune and tracks, the audience is still eating it up, being like, that's amazing, whatever. That's all that matters. It's when you start posting on social media, the iPhone compresses the audio and you can just tell all the imperfections, whether they're lip syncing or not.
Also, when it comes to performers, the dancing, I don't think people...
You will not see me dancing on the stage.
People don't
that is not happening.
give the dancer... like to perform.
No one gives the dancers
sing.
props.
Well, sure, the backup dancers, but I mean like the
Tammy Craze.
When Justin Bieber is up there sliding around the dance floor and hopping around and
Magic Mike in that shit,
having his moves. You try singing after doing a lap.
Well, so a lot of times they'll lip sync like parts of it to get their breath back. That's or if like a 3-hour set, like someone who's doing a 3-hour performance, I hate to break it to you, they're lip syncing for at least 15%.
So even Taylor.
Even Taylor will have tracking in the back. Just it's impossible to do a 3-hour show fully.
She is
live.
a human being.
Yeah. Like she's running around. She's hit all the high notes are real. All the fucking like all those big moments and everything is real. It's just like the random in between verses that you don't necessarily care about while she's getting her breath back. Mm-hmm. Everyone does it. That's the thing. I don't understand why everyone gets so much shit for it.
There are videos of her and it's like every like few phrases, but I feel like typically you see it in like the Midnights era, which is her last chunk of the show. So it's like she's 2.5 hours in and she's like, I'm dying.
Yeah. But it's also like, no one cares. No one's going to care that she's doing that either way because it's like, you're putting on a 3-hour performance every night. That's insane. I got an argument with someone where they're like, no, it's fully live. I'm like, it's impossible. It is impossible to do a 3-hour show every night and sing the entire thing and have everything be perfect.
I wonder if we're triggering anyone listening.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Well, even still having a voice after the fact too.
Dude, it's insane. It's impressive as hell. Like, but if it was one 3-hour show, she would do it live for sure. But if you do it every night and you're on the road and let's say you're sick, you need the extra help.
Totally. No, I'm a notorious bathtub singer. So like I'll try to, I think in my head because of the acoustics and everything that like I'm singing Adele like Adele. I get like a minute and a half in and I'm like, all right, time for me to lip sync.
Fatigued.
You sing Adele in the bathtub?
Yeah.
Where do you sing Adele?
I don't. Yeah.
You should
in
try
the shower, in the bathtub with the door closed.
If I could sing, like at all, I would sing all the time.
What's so funny is it's a learned skill. That's it.
You think so?
For sure.
I actually said this to Natalie the other day. We just had a daughter. I want to give her singing lessons.
Do it early. It's really nice. Because the only thing is, it's all about vocal strength. It's a muscle. So it's like if you're not working out the muscle correctly, you're doing more harm to it. And everyone likes to partake in singing, whether they're doing it right or not. And the whole thing is like, I never had vocal lessons growing up and I was singing very wrong growing up. And so like I went to vocal lessons and like, okay, we need to fix this. They fully like shredded my vocal cords to then learn what to do. Like it was a lot of work to get to where I am today. But it's really interesting. It's just a muscle. You have to build the muscle. And if you build it at an early age, it becomes habit. And it's also like muscle memory.
Well, I'm glad I got that right then. Thanks to Alex letting me know. I feel like every parent, at least back in the day, I don't know what parents nowadays are doing. It's like everyone does a piano, like an instrument.
Yeah.
Piano lessons. It's like, learn the piano and then, you can decide if you want to do other instruments,
For
but
sure.
no one does a lot of vocal stuff. And I feel like that's the one skill because I don't know if River was born with the voice of an angel. I'm not sure. It's unclear yet. She
That's
seems
a
to
sick
have
name, River.
She does seem to have good tone. She does match our tone. So we'll see.
I heard a whistle note the other day.
Yeah, we will see. I do have a laughing video where she is mimicking my voice. It's super cute. That being said, even if she is like doesn't have a good voice, to Alex's point, if we get her in voice lessons, she'll at least learn how to be to 98% of the general population, she'll be able to sing.
Yeah.
And so even if it is now, the only thing I will have to teach her is to not be the annoying person who is pretty decent at singing. And then every time someone's like, can anyone sing? They're like, oh my God, me. And they're like, and everyone's like, oh no, not River again. Fuck, she's singing.
She always
you have
suggests
the next
karaoke.
5 years planned out. Shit.
So, but I want to, if it were up to me, and it's not necessarily, but before she's really, I will encourage her to do singing lessons to learn that muscle. Yeah.
That's good.
Over piano or violin or flute.
Or both.
Do you play any instruments?
I play guitar and piano. I tried learning mandolin. It's pretty much a guitar upside down, so that's kind of fun. But it's hard, dude. Everything is fucking hard.
What's your favorite instrument to play?
I like guitar because it's mobile, but singing wise, I like singing over piano because I'm more accurate.
It's the one skill I wish I had.
I'm telling you, you can.
I'm not going to take music lessons at this point in my life.
It is hard.
I don't know. I don't need that midlife crisis trolls.
Your birthday's coming up. Yeah. We'll get you some vocal lessons for your birthday.
I'm fine.
That for the,
I am fine with just being the guy who wished he could sing. You know, I'm all for like reinventing yourself later in life, but I don't know. I don't need to take vocal lessons.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you were on The Bachelor, right?
I was.
I remember my fiance and I watched it, and I was like, "Are you still with that girl?"
No,
shit,
she died. No,
sorry, I am behind.
He's engaged.
Congratulations,
thanks
to his beautiful co-host, Natalie, and something that you both have in common: planning weddings. Upcoming.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
You got engaged in 2022?
Yes.
Yes.
How's that wedding? When's the wedding? Are you announcing the wedding date?
No, I'm not announcing the wedding, but it's in June. I'll say that.
It's in June.
It's in June. It's coming up.
It's a big wedding
chance to get it right.
Yeah. It's 350 people, I think. Yeah.
Whoa.
That is
big wedding.
Larger than ours. Yeah.
We just invited
not me. We invited everybody.
We invited all our some of the hype house people.
Okay, who's not invited.
I am not saying who's not invited.
Well, we hear about it on the internet because sometimes those people are like, "I wasn't invited to Alex Warren's wedding."
I don't think it's any it's just
it makes sense that they wouldn't be
invited. I hope not either, because you know what's going to happen. The trolls will be like, "How could you?" and blah blah blah, and instead, all your wedding content. You're gonna have trolls up in there and be like, "How could you not invite
Thomas?"
I've been blessed ever since I started doing music. I really don't have many trolls. Like that's the beautiful part about it. I think mostly because I make music about real shit that's happened to me, and it's about like my parents passing away or a love interest that is no longer in my life, and there's no bad blood. Yeah. I think it's the coolest part where like not many people are like, "Oh wow, like go fuck yourself." Like I don't know.
Right.
But or maybe I'm just not popular enough to have trolls. But I don't know. I'm very blessed about that. And I think anyone who isn't invited to my wedding wouldn't, if they have hard feelings about it, I'm sorry. But
I was going to say.
Also, I feel like it makes sense.
I think 15.7 million people on TikTok would disagree, and 8 million followers on Spotify would disagree.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. You've got numbers, my friend. People do love your music.
You pulled out receipts. Damn.
Absolutely.
8 million followers on Spotify.
I think that's monthly listeners.
Monthly listeners. Yeah.
Sorry, 8,775. But it says followers.
Oh, cool.
Then that to me it seems like an amazing number. What does Taylor Swift get?
100 million.
100 a month.
Yeah.
You're pretty close.
Minimum.
I think Taylor Swift's like the number one most listened to person.
That's not far off.
We're about 92 million away.
Sure.
It's not even close to a quarter.
Well, it's all relative, but
again, math is not our strong suit
no,
here.
I hear you.
But it's true. I mean, those are very impressive numbers.
Thank you. I stopped looking at them because I get kind of obsessed with it.
Yeah.
So I make the music and I fuck off.
And you just made a song about your parents.
Yeah.
About your wedding coming up.
I went on like a little task of just writing 2 songs, one happy, one sad, about my wedding. And so the sad one just came out. So we're saving them a seat. And I think it's a really cool concept that not many people talk about or post about, but we have a seat at the front. So like obviously my siblings and whatnot, and then my empty seat for like my parents, which is really cool. And also like I'm a big like emotional person. So I think I'm just going to cry like a bitch at my wedding. But
as you should.
I wanted to write a song about how I'm saving them a seat at my wedding, or like when I have a child inevitably in the next few years, I'm saving a seat for them to watch it happen. And I know if I look up, they're like watching down on me type of thing.
Yeah.
So I wrote a song about it. And then the other one is about Cover, which is cool. It comes out next month.
Like about anticipating that
it's
day?
called Carry You Home. So it's kind of like no matter what, like when we're 55 or 75 or whatever, like I'll still be carrying you home. Like even when I can't carry you anymore. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. So a cute little love song and a sad little death song. It's a nice combo.
Yeah, balance.
What makes your relationship work?
Honest to God, I think I got lucky. That's the biggest thing. I think with finding relationships and dating, you're just trial. It's one of those like, not a free trial, as I want to say, like it's you're testing whether or not you guys are compatible. You're also testing whether or not you can compromise with each other. Like for me, if Cover wants something and I don't agree with it, there's a compromise there where I know that we'll find a compromise. Where in a lot of relationships that I was in before, we couldn't find a compromise that worked with either. So I think in a relationship, and what works so well with us is any disagreement we have, we stop and we figure it out, and we don't let anything like boil up. And she says what's on her mind and I say what's on my mind. And also we're constantly compromising for each other.
Yeah.
Or even if we're not compromising, it's like we just understand. Like she can tell when I'm mad before I'm even mad. So it's really cool.
Strong communication and understanding.
What's your favorite thing to do together?
Dude, we're old. Like I know I'm 20. We're both 23, but I just feel old. Like we just sit around on the couch watching Criminal Minds with we have 4 dogs, 4 Australian Shepherds. So we literally just cuddle up with our dogs and watch TV. It's great. It's fantastic.
Did you just get a new puppy recently?
No, I got a puppy. Our last one for a while was like probably like 8 months ago.
8 months ago. I know I saw the TikTok where she was saying that she wanted another dog. And it was the 3 of your other dogs lined up together and you.
Oh, yeah.
It was cute.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, she's she loves dogs. But I think the next thing's probably a kid within the next few years.
You want to be a dad?
I really want to be a dad. I think there's something about losing my dad at a young age. I was 9. And he was so obsessed with seeing us grow up.
Mm-hmm.
So he's packed as much as he could in for the time that he had, and that's where I learned music. Like he got me a guitar, and we all did the piano recitals like you were talking about. And I'm just obsessed with living out the dream he didn't get to.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How many kids do you think you want?
2 or 3.
2 or 3.
Yeah, I think 4 is a little too much for me, especially I have 4 dogs and I can barely handle them.
Yeah. I can speak from experience that a daughter.
How many kids do you have?
I just had my first kid.
Oh,
Well,
congratulations.
Or Natalie did, but we had our first child. Yeah.
That's sick.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
We like
And
her.
they've got 2 fur babies,
We have 2 dogs.
one of which just got.
Steve just got neutered yesterday. Lost his balls.
Oh, mine's got to get that soon.
Yeah.
R.I.P. balls.
I know.
Well, he's been real.
Did they give it to you in a cup?
Excuse
No.
me?
Do they do that?
You can ask them to do that.
When I got home yesterday and he was back, I actually thought, should we have?
So you can ask for that, and it's so funny. The vets are so funny. Like I asked for it just as a funny joke because I wanted to see what they look like, and she goes, "Oh my god, yes, of course. I usually have a moment with them and their balls." I'm like, what the fuck? These vets are crazy. Like they're fully into the whole they give them their moments and everything. It's not just snip snip. All right, we're out of here. They're like, it's very sensual. I'm just crazy.
I felt kind of sadistic in the weeks leading up to cutting Steve's balls off because he's been kind of a fuck lately.
Dude, I swear it's the balls.
It is the balls.
It probably is, yeah.
The balls.
Yeah.
But and granted, most people neuter their dogs. It's
Mhm.
like something.
Responsibility.
Yeah. But it felt like I was
punishing him.
yeah, I was like, well, we're going to cut his balls off for jumping up on the counter and eating the butter.
This is the time you peed in the house.
Yeah.
This is
That's
for.
crazy.
So it's like, it seems kind of aggressive to have cut my dog's balls off for eating the butter, but
Gotta
it's
happen.
also what we were going to do anyways.
Yeah.
But it seems extra cruel.
I need to know, what did you do with the dog's balls?
I didn't get them. She didn't do it.
Oh,
I
okay.
asked for
I
it.
thought you
She had a
asked for it.
ceremony.
She was so down for it, and then after she just oh, sorry. I was like, what do you do with them?
She's like, I ate them.
Probably.
Harvested. Well, all right then.
Okay. Well, are you down to give some relationship advice to a caller?
What? Yeah, sure.
Great. Let's do it. It's time for texting office hours. If you love your dog, you got to make sure you're feeding them high quality ingredients, and you can do that with Sundays for Dogs. Sundays is fresh dog food made from a short list of human grade ingredients. Sundays was co-founded by Dr. Tori Waxman, a practicing veterinarian who tests and formulates every version of each recipe. Sundays contains 90% meats, 10% superfoods, and 0% artificial ingredients. Dog parents report noticeable healthier improvements in their pups, including softer fur, fresher breath, better poops, and more energy after switching to Sunday dogs. You guys know how much we love our dogs, Jeff and Steve. Allie has Kiki. It is so important to make sure that your dogs are eating right, because what you put in their body matters. We don't get to be with our furry friends as long as we hoped. So let's make sure that we are extending their life and their time with us by giving them the food they deserve. Unlike other fresh dog food, Sundays does not require refrigeration or preparation because of their air drying process. Just pour and serve, which makes it super easy to travel, that's for sure, and which we love because we like to travel with our dogs. And if you're like that, you gotta check out Sundays. Plus, Sundays offers you ability to have subscriptions. You can automatically 20% off, and you get free shipping on every reorder. Cancel or pause your subscription anytime with their 100% satisfaction guarantee. Never run out of dog food as well, because that's super annoying. You know, your dogs are hungry. They're like, oh, feed me. And then you realize you're out of dog food. You have to go to the pet store. None of that with Sundays. No, no, no. So get 40% off your first order at Sundays. Go to sundaysfordogs.com/VIALL or use code VIALL at checkout. That's sundaysfordogs.com/VIALL.
We have something to celebrate. It's really exciting. Brooklinen's 10-year anniversary, and they're celebrating big by giving all of you 25% off their award-winning home essentials. This is huge. This is absolutely massive.
It's massive.
You must take advantage of this. We are obsessed with Brooklinen. We've had it for 5 years, maybe longer. I don't know. We've had it for forever.
Yeah. I call the 8th wonder of the world because it's truly amazing how comfortable and affordable everything they have is.
Absolutely. The Luxe Sateen is definitely our favorite. They have satin pillowcases. Their towels are so plush and like thick and just amazing. It has improved our sleep so much. I know when we go to hotels and then we get back home, we always sleep so much better when we're back in our Brooklinen sheets and our Brooklinen bed. Our dogs love it. It's truly the best. We actually even added it on our registry to get more Brooklinen because we're that obsessed.
And if you want some comfortable loungewear, look no further than what Brooklinen is offering you. Everything that Brooklinen has is truly incredible. And now there has been no better time to check out Brooklinen, especially if you've never checked them out. They are celebrating by giving you 25% off their award-winning home essentials. There is no better time to shop Brooklinen's home essentials than right now during their 10-year anniversary sale. Shop 25% off site-wide and up to 45% off bundles in-store and online at brooklinen.com. That's BROOKLINEN.com, brooklinen.com. How's it going?
Hi, my name is Emily. I'm 27 years old, and my long-term boyfriend called me last night to say he wants to move. I'm trying to figure out how we can stay together and do long distance.
Okay. So when he said he wanted to move, that was out of nowhere, or did you see that coming? And did he invite you to move with him?
So I did see it coming. We live in, a really big city in the US, and it's a very intense place to live. There's a lot going on. And I've known for a while that he's not the type of person that would do well here. And he basically made the sacrifice to move here for the past 2 years for my career. And I think now he's coming to the realization that he doesn't see himself happy in this environment. And so I think for him, it's more like he wants to be able to travel a bit more. And basically we have to figure out if we're re-signing our lease in 2 weeks. So that kind of pushed this conversation forward, even though I kind of saw it coming.
Gotcha. And where does he want to move? And did he invite you to move, I guess is the next question.
So the complicated part of it is, so he's fully remote. I'm in the office 5 days a week. I have a really demanding career and, what would be basically a dream job for most people. But I don't know, I've always told him I'm willing to take a step back from my career and make that sacrifice. I guess I just didn't know that it was coming this soon. And so I think the other part of it is if I'm going to move and make a huge career sacrifice, I guess I just need a certain level of commitment from him to be comfortable doing that and just uprooting my entire life. And I probably need at least a year to find a job and whatever. That's the other thing. He doesn't really know where he wants to be, just that it's not here.
How long you guys been together?
That's the other tough thing. We've been together for 6 years.
Okay, 6 years. All right, yeah. Okay.
Holy shit.
And how old are you again?
27.
How old is he?
So we started dating when we were in college. He's a year younger.
Okay.
So the beginning of our relationship was not super serious. We were in college. It was more of for fun. And then I think as we've gotten older, we've kind of evolved together. I moved to the city that we live in 2 years ahead of him while he was finishing school and he was in a longer program. So we did 2 years of long distance already, and it was challenging. I mean, we got through it, but I don't know. I viewed, him moving here as moving our relationship forwards. I'm just trying to figure out, if I do want to be with him and make this work, how do I make it work when it does feel a little bit of a step back instead of forward.
How much personal fulfillment does your job give you?
Financially, really it's the pay is fantastic and intellectually it's stimulating. I can feel really proud of what I've done, and I've worked really, really hard in school and in my career so far to get here. So sacrificing that is difficult. However, my job has never been my top priority. I think having a relationship, eventually getting married and having a family comes before. So it's
okay.
I don't know. I'm willing to sacrifice it. It's just, I guess it would help to know how long he feels like he needs to like be in this exploratory phase to like find a place and a routine and a lifestyle that gives him happiness and fulfillment. And like, I don't know. And he says that like he still loves me. He doesn't want this to be like the end of our relationship. He doesn't want to lose me. And like, so it's just tough.
Yeah, but yet he seems like it comes across as that he made this decision without you.
Yeah.
Like he made this decision for himself, by himself, and then kind of gives like,
position.
hey, by the way, I'm moving. I know you kind of saw it coming because I don't really like this city, but this wasn't a decision you guys made as a couple. And it sounds like, I imagine from your POV, it's frustrating because you seem like you would have been more than willing to at least have the conversation. You seem very open-minded. You have this
You're willing to give up everything you have.
Literally, your quote unquote dream job. So like, you're not getting that from him. Is that an accurate statement?
I think that's fair. I just think that the way I view it is like he's made the sacrifices in terms of like, you know, he's a super outdoorsy person and we've been living in like a huge city and like he's made massive sacrifices in that regard to be here for the past 2 years to support the fact that I needed to be here in my career. And so I'm like, maybe this is just like my turn to be like, you know, maybe he just needs like a year and maybe like we can figure out the living situation, whether that's like trying to extend our lease and he pays less of the rent, but is able to like travel more. And like, we can then as a couple, like, and as a team, and I've said this to him, like figure out where we want to live and move together.
Yeah. How did he say it to you yesterday?
I mean, he texted me like in the morning and was like, I've gone over the lease. Like, I just, you know, have a question about it and I think we should talk about it later. And I'm like, cool. And like, we text throughout the day like normal. And then we had a call last night. So this is really raw, by the way. Call last night and he's like, I just, you know, am not happy living in this city and like we've tried different things to like make it so I can be happy here. But he's traveled a little bit over the past couple of months and he said like thinking about it, it's like made me realize that like for my life long term, like I need to find like a routine and a lifestyle that makes me happy. And like in this city, it's hard for me to feel relaxed. There's a lot going on. I feel uncomfortable. And like, it's just, I know that he's not happy here and I see it. And like him being fully remote, we're in a big city in a small space and he's, you know, in the apartment all day long. Like, I get it. So there's nothing that he said
does he have a plan for this upcoming year? It sounds like he wants to travel and whatnot, but like you giving up your dream job for no plans put in place. I mean, that's terrifying.
I feel like this would be so much easier if he like knew what was happening.
Or like where he wants to move.
The way it's presented right now is that he's just like, I'm unhappy where I am, but I also don't know what I'm doing, where we're going, or what's the next step. Take a leap of faith with me.
Well, yeah, there's all that. And
yeah,
then
I mean, he's not saying I should move. He's saying like, you know, you shouldn't give up your career right away. Like, you know, maybe we like spend some time apart while I'm doing this, but I'm going to visit a lot. Like I still want to make this work, but like, I just need time to like find somewhere where I can truly be happy. And like, he says he does picture me in that. It's just, but yeah, you guys are right that like, he basically made this decision alone.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to like figure out how to
fit into it,
work with it.
There's a lot of like, when he was saying this to you, assuming what you're saying is verbatim, but there was a lot of I and me language in terms of he was talking. I need to do this for me. I'm not happy. I want to travel. I got to figure myself out. You've been in a relationship with this guy for 6 years. And there's a lot of people in that position who might say, babe, you know, I don't like the city, but like, I really want us to figure our stuff out. And I know we want a sort of family someday. And so for, you know, to do that, and, you know, I definitely want to, are you open to maybe exploring other options? Because I'm hoping we can move our relationship together. It doesn't sound like there was any of that, you know? So he does not sound like a guy who knows that he wants to spend the rest of his life with you as hard as, you know, like,
I mean, and I mean, he's been transparent about that. I think like I've been, you know, telling him that like, you know, I do want to head towards marriage. Like that's something that I see for myself and that like I want for us, but he has been transparent in the fact that he's like, I need to figure out like happiness in my own life, and like we need to have like a lot more serious conversations before like he's like gonna get to that point where he's like on that page where he's ready to get married. And at the time when he said that to me, it was hard to hear, but like now when I think about it, I agree with him, because like clearly like there's a lot of hard conversations that I think we were maybe avoiding, like especially around this. And like if he like views his long-term future somewhere else, like that's a really important conversation that like, and I wish we had it like 3 or 4 months ago, instead of right before our lease is up and I'm looking at like trying to find an apartment by myself, and like it's just very stressful.
Yeah, no, it sucks. But I guess the thing is like he kind of chose to do it this way, and that it does matter. He wasn't. I get the impression that in the nicest possible way, the truth, and I know this is raw, so, but it sounds like he wants to do this on his own.
Yeah.
I mean, any guy in a 6-year relationship who was truly afraid about, if his own personal needs and choices were going to potentially cause a rift in a relationship that he truly valued and knew that without any doubt that, it's like, hey, I'm not sure if I want to figure myself out, but the one thing I do not want to lose is this relationship, so I want to do whatever I can to maintain that. Like that, this is not the actions of a man who sounds like that. I think he does care about you, and I think he does like see potential in this relationship, but it sounds like down on the totem, on the priority list rather of what he's really concerned about, and it seems like what he realizes is that like he doesn't really know what he wants to do in the future with you. All things being equal, it's kind of like, yeah, sure. I mean, I could eventually, I see myself getting married someday, and I care about you. But this sure sounds like a guy whose life could be drastically different 3 years from now. You've been in a relationship with him in his early 20s, in your early 20s. Those are very kind of potentially formative years for a lot of people, especially people who haven't figured themselves out, and especially for young men who like, I think, struggle with kind of a little bit of a identity and want to figure themselves out. And then he has a girlfriend who has figured out kind of what she wants to do. And I think in any relationship, it as much as you are rooting for your partner's success, when you are struggling figuring out what you want to do and you see someone else that you're close to, even if it's a buddy or a girlfriend or whatever, it's not that you're not happy for them. It makes you feel more behind. It makes you, it's like, it's hard not to compare, and the comparison's the thief of joy. And so it's like, he's probably struggling with that. So I'm concerned that you are going to be the only person really protecting this relationship is you.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to give up all the good things you have going for yourself for someone who clearly his biggest concern isn't preserving this relationship. His biggest concern is to figuring himself out. And as scary as that, and it sounds like he's very open to the possibility that you might not be in his future. It is very easy for him to say like, I mean, I do want to make it work with you. Like, of course, but that's not clear. His actions say that it's not the biggest priority right now.
And he's not like creating a plan for the two of you. This is what I want to do. Yeah. And since I've sacrificed, now it's your turn. But it sounds like things are going well for you. You have a dream job and you like where you are. So it's like, these are a lot of things to sacrifice with no promise or no commitment or no, you know what I mean? Like a ring on your finger, whatever it is that's saying that we're taking the next steps if I do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think like, me personally, like I also don't really love it here. And like, there's a lot of, I have a lot of similarities with my boyfriend in terms of like, just things about our personality and our interests that make it just difficult to live here. But I've chosen to just suck it up for my career. So that's why I'm like, maybe in the end, this like could be a good thing if I do move a year from now. But like, I do like, I don't know. It's like the question is like, should we sign the lease on our current place together? And like, he's just here a lot less, but we still maintain like our shared space? Or is that like putting me at risk? And should I instead like,
can you afford it on your own?
Get a new place.
Can you afford it on your own?
I can. I mean, I floated to him the idea, like, what if I pay, like, you know, a bigger portion of it and you're here like a third of the time, and
I
like
just don't like
that
how
gives
you're
you
the one
the
proposing
freedom
that.
to like travel, and then we can like as a team like think through like a year from now where we want to live, and that'll give me the time to like also think through like, you know, the job situation, because like I think like my life as a whole, I probably would be happier somewhere else, but it's just like would be really tough to like go from a really awesome job where I'm making a certain amount to like something way shittier that's way less, or like in a completely different field, and like wasting all of the effort that I've put in.
Yeah.
It just sounds like you're doing all the work.
Yeah.
though.
What did he say to this, you know, this kind of flexibility that you were willing to do?
Yeah, I mean, he said like, you know, he needs to like think about it a little bit, but that like he thinks that it could work because like for him the hardest part of being here is in the winter time when it's dark and like we're inside a lot and he's inside a lot, and like there's not a lot of sun, and like there's not a lot of things to do outside, and like he loves to do outdoorsy stuff and like a lot of snow sports and whatever, and he's like, you know, being here in the summer is actually pretty fun. It's like, you know, maybe it can work. Like I think for him, like having the flexibility to like be here a bit less in the winter like could be a solution that could work for him. I think he just like needs to tell me how he really feels about it.
Yeah, that's the big thing. I would love to have been in the room when you were like, hey, well, what if we do this? And what if I pay more about this? And what if I do that? Like, you know, sometimes people are just like, oh, yeah, no, that sounds great. But like, is he looking for you to really come up with solutions? Because again, there's a world where like, he's just like, I'm really scared about losing this relationship. It's his biggest priority. He knows but he knows he needs to leave. And all of a sudden he's worried that, you know, you're going to get all mad. And there's a world where he would be like so appreciative of like just how compromising and how flexible you are with this. And I'm getting the sense that he's more like, yeah, sure. I mean, that could work.
Yeah,
like, it's almost like he doesn't want you to
getting-
do it because he doesn't want to owe you anything in a way.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this was over text this morning because
my
like we had a really long conversation last night, and I didn't sleep at all, and then I was like thinking all night about like solutions.
Dude,
I, like,
it
texted
fully
this
sounds
to
like
him.
it fully sounds like you're fully invested in this, and you're trying to find every possible outcome, like compromisable outcome. The issue is, it sounds like you're the only one throwing out suggestions, and he's giving you the burden of doing all that. Where he's like, "This is my plan. This is what I figured out. I'm gonna do this. I'd love for you to be a part of it, but I haven't made that part for you yet." Where you're like, well, what if we do this? And what if we do that? And what if I do this? And what if I do all this compromise? And he's like, yeah, it might work. Is the way it's coming off, at least. And
Yeah.
I just don't think it's fair to you. I think you've spent the last 2 years of your life trying to make a dream job work in a not ideal location for your relationship. That being said, like, you know, yes, he's put up with, you know, his compromise was coming with you, even though he's an outdoorsy man, and even though he's all these different things. I just don't see how this is continuously supporting you by doing this. And if you want to make long distance work, make long distance work. I did long distance for a really long time. The problem is like, is he going to put in as much as you're putting in long distance? Is he going to do the compromise with you to make the relationship work? Or is he fully, I'm just focusing on me, and I'm going to do me, and I'm going to finally, after the last 2 years of my life, put myself first? Which again is not an issue either. I just don't think he's being very upfront with you.
I mean, he did say that verbatim, like basically like I've realized that like this is something where I do need to put myself first in this. Like he said that to me, but at the same time, he's like, I still want to make it work. I guess I'm just trying to figure out how we can make it work out together. And I think the harder part of this is
he said that last part, or you said that last part?
Which part?
That I want to still make this work.
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah, together.
He did.
Okay.
And like he's out of town right now for like a legitimate reason that I fully support. But I did tell him like, look, I really need you to come back because we need to talk about this. And you know, he was even apologetic that like this conversation happened over the phone and that it happened like 2 weeks before our lease is up, and like
Wait, he had this
I don't know, I
conversation
guess
with
we just
you.
have a lot of talking to do.
He brought this whole topic up while he's been out of town.
Yeah.
Did you guys talk about this before he left?
No.
Not really. So I mean, he clearly has been he's been thinking about this long before he told you about it. That's a concern.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I I've been so busy with work that like honestly the lease renewal coming up kind of like slipped my mind, but I am usually like the one that's more of the planner in the relationship. So I did bring it up when he was in town. I'm like, oh, the lease signing is coming up. Like, do you still want to like live together and date me, basically? And he was like, yeah, of course. Like, I think we should just think through like, other apartments that might be available and like decide whether like, I don't know. His response that made me seem like he just wanted to make sure we were looking at all of the options where we currently live. I didn't know that he also meant options that are not with me and not here.
Well, I'm sorry going through this. This sucks. My recommendation would be, I mean, obviously you're going to have to talk to him and things might change, but based on what we know now, and I think it would be unwise for you to rush into a decision that could drastically alter your life and your career and your personal life. There's a lot of, you're talking about a major life decision that you want to get right, So based off that alone, I think, the fact that he dropped this bomb on you 2 weeks prior to your lease, I would hate for you to feel forced to quit your job and agree to move with him for someone who hasn't even made it clear he wants you to move. And the more you talk, the more you seem unclear.
Yeah, that's definitely not happening.
Great. Okay. Well, I'm glad we're on that page. I think you just let him do his thing. I guess what I'm saying is like, I probably makes sense to, if he's going to be traveling a lot, as much as it sucks to move, maybe look for a place that you can afford on your own. And if you guys maintain this relationship long distance, when he visits, you guys can snuggle up in a smaller apartment that's more affordable to you. But it's kind of like one of those things where, kind of let it go, so to speak, and see if it comes back. Because I wonder, once he moves, like, you can do all the planning you want in a long distance relationship, but until it's long distance, you don't really know how committed you both are to making this work.
Yeah, I'm just scared you're going to make drastic decisions that you can't go back to. If in that whole retrospect, I think he needs to figure out what he wants to do. And if it was me in that position, I'd probably let them go, do what they need to do, find the compromise, but don't alter your life too much to, keep yourself protected too. Right now, he's putting himself first, and it sounds like you're trying to put him first in your life as well. But if he's putting himself first and he's focusing on him, you're carrying the relationship in that aspect. I feel like you need to do what's right for yourself as well. And if it's the relationship, then yeah. I think the biggest thing is if you prevail out of this long distance thing, it means your relationship's meant to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's also what he said. Like, like, this is something he needs to do. But like, if this is something we get through, like, then truly it is meant to be. And he also did say to me, like, I don't want you to like abandon your career right away. Like, I think it makes way more sense for you to like stay. And I know you can't really like leave. And so like, he's not expecting me to like drop my whole life. And like, it just makes no sense. And like, so we're both on the same page with that.
I would pay attention to how much compromises you are offering. I would kind of almost follow suit. So it's like, all right, you need to do this. I support you. I understand. But because you are prioritizing your personal needs, I guess I just kind of need to do that as well. And I'm really curious how he responds to that, right? If that doesn't scare him, then I think you need to realize that this guy really isn't, all that. Then his concerns really are him, And if you have been in a relationship with a guy for 6 years and he is not afraid to move at the risk of what that might do for your relationship, at least something you should know and acknowledge. Because I don't want him to move, be doing all this traveling, finding himself. Yeah, you didn't quit your job, you're bogged down and you're working hard, but man, you're putting all this effort into maintaining this long distance relationship. And at the end of the day, he's really just not. And then you invest the next 6 months of trying to make this long distance relationship, and you're going to kind of go through different stages of grief and breaking up when, he's moving further and further away from you. I almost would rather see you start testing that now, and like you just kind of start making independent choices, because that might be like, wait, I would love to him to be like, well, are you sure? You don't want, almost like see if he's almost worried that, because of his decision, if your actions start changing, which it would be normal if he's not worried about you leaving him, I guess is what I'm trying to say. He's operating with a lot of confidence that he's going to be able to do what he does and that you are going to essentially wait around, and he's holding all the cards and all the power. And I'm not saying he's taking advantage of it or he's, being Machiavellian about it, but it sounds like he's very much operating knowing that you want to make it work with him. You want to be with him. And he is kind of like, well, you don't have to, you get what I'm saying? It's just, he is not afraid to lose you right now. And I think and you are afraid to lose him. And I think that should be more equal.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he said when we talked, like, he doesn't want to lose me. He said those words. But I mean, I feel like my actions have started changing a little bit. I mean, I told him that I have, we had this conversation last night. I'm seeing apartments by myself tonight.
Yeah.
So that's good. At least create some sort of backup plan for myself. And I told him that. I said, I floated the idea of we continue our lease or I move out, whatever. But I'm just, I need to find a place to live.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm sorry. This sucks. I mean, it's sorry you're going through this because I feel it's one of those things where I don't think you're getting 100% honest answers from him. And I feel like your instincts recognize that. And you're trying to maintain hope for the relationship while also making sure you're taking care of yourself. And that's a lot of emotional strain on you. And that's
do you think I should have hope that after something like this, we can come out the other side and
sure, anything's possible.
Have it work out, but
anything's possible. And I don't want to tell you not to have hope, but I do think you need to be realistic about how much hope. I think it's just as likely, maybe even more, that once your boyfriend goes out and finds himself, his new life may not fit with you in it. And the reality is this is one of those things where you two might be really good for each other, but you might not be each other's person because not being compatible in terms of career or where you guys want to live is a major thing. It's it's a non-negotiable, so to speak. And you guys might really care for each other. You guys, I don't know if you're each other's first, but you've been in each other's lives very early on in your relationship. It's a 6-year relationship. It's been a third of your life almost, close to it, a quarter of your life. So there's clearly a lot of care and consideration, and that's hard to leave. But right now, his priority, as he even said, is him and figuring himself out. And he has no idea what he wants to do. And I think that's a very risky proposition for you to go into this with a ton of hope that he finds himself and still wants to include you in it. So, as hard as it is for me to say to you, I think you need to be very realistic about that and let him give you reasons to hope. I don't think your hope should just be based off of your history. It should be based off of his actions.
No, that makes sense.
So
it just kind of sucks all around. And I don't know. I did tell him, if we do this, it's going to be hard. I'm going to need a lot from you. But I guess I kind of just have to give him the chance to show me that and see how it goes. And if it's too painful for me, then I'll have to just make the hard choice.
Yeah. And I know this is the last thing you want to hear right now, but this might be something that you realize was the best for you too. You may find that you're able to find yourself in a little different way when whether you guys maintain, because even if he moves and you try to stay together, a lot of your life will feel you'll feel like a single person again. And I wonder, you might hate it at first, but don't be afraid to take advantage of this opportunity, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's something that's important is I think one of the reasons why he's been unhappy here is because, a lot of his friends have left. He's been struggling to find hobbies and things that he likes to do and find his own happiness in life. And I get that. And I think also me, I also in some ways have become a little bit codependent on him for not being lonely. So maybe being by myself will help me learn how to be alone.
It sucks. I'm sorry. Well, listen, just keep talking with them. These things tend to work themselves out. But right now, this is, like you said, so raw and you're just dealing with this.
I think just be honest and communication is so important.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, and especially in-person communication. If you are able to even do that, I would definitely just say, we're obviously not in a relationship. We can only give you advice on what we've heard. But just do what's best for you. at the end of it, because he's doing what's best for him.
And be clear with what you want. You know, like don't try to appease him or say the things that you think he wants to hear. Like have an honest conversation about where this is going and like what it is that he wants out of this.
Yeah.
But you're going to be okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've just, I guess, struggled to be like putting my needs first, because I also recognize that sometimes I, love your partner. Sometimes you put
totally
their needs first. Right?
That was kind of my point about like, this might end up being something you will appreciate more than you realize down the road, because it is, you're right, emotionally draining to be in a relationship with someone who constantly reminds you that they're unhappy, or they have, they have to find themselves, they don't know what to do. And then I don't think you fully realize how great it might be to be in a relationship with someone who loves what they do and feels confident about what they do, and they're offering you emotional support, when you need it. And not right now, you're the one, sounds like you're always there for him, and he's just too unhappy to be there for you. As much as you might care about it and love him, it might not be, there might be something much better for you out there. You just have to be willing to try it out, potentially.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm gonna at least try to find a way to make this work. Yeah. And basically I just have to see through his actions how it goes. And if it's not working, then then it's just not working.
Yeah.
And I honestly, it'll be obvious.
There's no harm in, trying long distance at first, but I would check in with yourself pretty regularly to see if it's actually working.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that makes sense.
Well, sorry you're going through this. It's definitely a bummer. But keep us posted on what happens. And I think you're going to be okay. It's just right now it's sad,
Yeah, sad and stressful, but I'll get through it.
You
definitely will get through it. All right. Well, keep us posted. Thank you for the call. Again, sorry you're going through this, but I'm very optimistic for you.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care. Oh, sweet girl.
I thought that was fake in the beginning.
No.
When you guys started, I was like, oh, it's probably like an actor or something. That was real.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, people call in with some pretty earnest problems.
Bro, I thought that was fully fake. That's insane.
Nope.
Wow.
They're all real. Yeah. Any tips for long distance?
It's hard. I think it's what makes and breaks relationships.
Make it short distance.
Yep. And it's more of like, that's the really testament. That's a real testament to how your relationship will go. If you guys can make long distance compromise works, because it's easy to compromise with someone right in front of you.
Yeah.
So much more difficult if they're thousands of miles apart.
It's also the other way around too. It's one thing to go start off long distance to come together versus be together for 6 years. And then.
Yeah. Poor thing.
I know.
Alex, we appreciate your time, man.
Thank you very much for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoyed having you. Can you please let my audience know where they can find you, enjoy your music, all the great things you have coming down the pike?
Sure. Go check out my music. I hate plugging myself. It's the worst thing ever.
Instagram handle?
We're making you do
just Alex Warren. You can check me out anywhere.
Okay. Alex Warren. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to send in your questions at Ask Nick, right? I forgot. Yep. At AskNick@theViallFiles.com for all things texting, office hours, mediation. Ask Nick, you know the drill. We will be back on Monday. See you then. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.